Back in my bag, yo. Conscious. ISO. Diamond. Back in my bag and I gotta brag, I do this shit for real. When we was down and we had nothing, we had to share a meal. We put the shit in overdrive with no steering wheel. Shorty throw that thing back in a pair of heels. Yeah, she be riding on that thing like a Ferris wheel. Yeah, I love them dark skin, brown skin, caramel. You know I had to bring it to the hood like she Karen Civil when she keep on turning head. Cause when she walk that thing jiggle,
and we going back to back on them like we Huey and we Riley. This that back in my back flow, we back again so highly. This that back in my back flow, we back to change the climate. This that back in my back flow, we bring the force like Tommy. Back in my back flow. Back in my, yeah, back in my bag, yeah. I'm back in my, I'm back in my bag, yeah. I'm back in my, back in my bag flow.
Back again, yeah, we keep on stacking it, what's happening? Everything in Gucci got me feeling like I'm dapper then. Life has been a movie, yeah, so shout out to the cameraman. Pull up to the scene, it's going down like an avalanche.
Steady going up like a travel plan. Homer Simpson face, lucky power plant. Yeah, I'm off that dope, like I'm back again to busy at the millies. Out on club hurts, give the word if it's a cinch, love forgive me. Still having motion, dog, so why would I slow it? Make it rain on them, bust a band, then you throw it. We was steady having it, even at our lowest. High speed road runner, keep my motor going.
Hey, people feel away, but they don't show it. Gotta watch the people that's around you, that you grow it. They be coming around you with some plans to steal your moment. Soon as I bust a nut, she be like, baby, where you going? Never slowing down, it's enough to go around. Yeah, you probably knew it's then, but really you don't know it's now. Niggas let it show and tell, but all my niggas know me well. It was either chase a dream or go to jail, but none of us ain't
and we
going
going back to back on them like we Huey and we Riley. This that back in my back flow, we back again so highly. This that back in my back flow, we back to change the climate. This that back in my back flow, we bring the force like Tommy. Back in my back flow. Back in my, back in my.
What is going on, kids? I hope y'all can hear me. Tippy's been all over the board. What is going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Give me a thumbs down if y'all are just seeing my lips move. I'm looking forward to just a weird, wonderful Friday night flicks, hanging out with you wonderful people. Leading up to said Stevie Faction Stevie, Honey Bucket. Last night kind of got surprised, bumped into a late night live with Maddie, Mad Yako, God, something Fred the Lug. I always forget. I see him in chats. I'm terrible. I'm going to say hey to people. Marco, what is up? Blade Shooter. These guys were in early. Burnt Relic. Paul was here. Channel member left and came back. Welcome, Paul. We got brother Marco, who was here earlier. And then we got Joe Isabella, the man, the myth, the legend, always making things cool, making things better than they were. Sent me something really cool today. I might share it here shortly. Who else we got in here? We got Michael Upchurch, channel member. Welcome, Michael. Good to see you, buddy. Lord Needham was driving. I saw that earlier. Hopefully he'll stop in when he gets home and chill with us. We got brother Neil McKenzie, channel member. Howdy, Neil. Happy Friday Night Flicks. And we got El Cap Addict. And that is the prairie dog. And I need to redo those emojis because I've kind of learned how to do them. So I apologize for being a slacker. But that is back when I used to do the Metal Mondays Light. And it was kind of like an homage to Dottie and I forget the other prairie dog's name. Pocket Metal's prairie dog. And they are kind of looking over each other's shoulder, so to speak, if you would say, as it were. Ed, what is up, brother? And we got Bama Ninja, my buddy from right up the street. Good to see you, Bama Ninja. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're having a very colorful, wonderful weekend starting off. Who else have I got in here that I've not missed? Let's see. I'm always terrible. I'm trying to, I always say, there's no need to say it, but I try to stay focused on the comments, but you guys will get me sidetracked shortly, or more realistically, I'll sidetrack myself. Brody7420, what is up, buddy? Welcome, welcome. Who else we got in the house? We got Burnt Relic is in the house. Good to see you, brother. Burnt Relic. Oop, I hadn't turned it on yet. The Jason Grant Memorial wood burning that adorns my old grandmother's stereo cabinet that is awesome. Go to burntrelic.com, check out what he's doing. We'll check it out here in a second. Richard, good evening, my friend. I'm going to do something real quick, and then I'm not going to come right back. I'm going to pull up Burnt Relic so I don't forget. All right. That way it'll be on one of my tabs. If you guys saw my tabs, as I tried to plan for a more informative type of experience for all of us as we're here. Joe, I can't even make coffee, so I go pay the devil his due and grab a couple of those. I've got a couple of my Jet Lice. Check your local craft beer stores or your gas stations. This is non-alcoholic. Only because I'm an alcoholic, so I don't drink things with alcohol in them. And sobriety is overrated. Homer, what is up? Channel member, my brother from another mother. Good to see you, buddy. And Marco, I don't know if you were here when I said hey, because I know you were the first person in the chat. Howdy, buddy. Who else we got in here? I'm going to get way behind if I'm not here. Richard, I said hey to Richard. Joseph S., what is going on, buddy? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'll try to keep it clean tonight. I'll try to keep it somewhat focused on knives and community and things that don't dwell too far out of that realm, but I can't promise. Douglas Wagner, howdy, buddy. Welcome. Good to see you, my friend. I do got a cool little knife to show you guys. I unfortunately don't get the tons of knives coming in every week, which is great. You know, I just get to kind of pick and choose and ask and beg for stuff that I'd like to show. But I had a trade with our brother, and I won't dox him, but he's your friend and mine. And we did a trade on a couple of fixed blades, and I got a little fixed blade that's pretty cool. That I would have never picked out had I not had a chance to trade with him. And it worked out, and I'm stoked. So who I missed? Maroni, what is going on? Channel member, welcome, welcome. I hope I haven't missed anybody as I'm scrolling down the list. But y'all are so active, chatting, welcoming each other, which is so cool. Because I like to keep it low key in here. I like to keep it with you guys coming in. Geoknife, welcome. Where y'all can kind of hang out together and, you know, we get a little bit of education when we get Kyle Coonley stopping in to spread his knowledge. And then I just kind of do weird stuff, right? Hey, Chad, how are you, buddy? Welcome, welcome. Good to see you, man. Scotch and Things, what is up, brother? Are you driving or are you home? I'm going to shoot you a link here shortly as soon as I get to the bottom here. I don't know if you can join or not, but I always, you know, he knows how I roll. I'm always big on his family time. I think I'm caught up. If I missed anybody, home, all right, Scotch, give me 2 seconds. I'll pull up Instagram. First thing I want to do is show you guys Burnt Relic's page because I know he's done some things, I think for Stevie. I'm not sure. But if you guys, and it doesn't have to be something memorialized, if you have something that is very special to you, that is cool to you, that somebody that you want to have on a plaque, not a plaque, on a piece of absolute organic artwork. Where is, I'm going to go to his, like, look at that right there. But I've seen a Geronimo. I think I've seen a Willie Nelson. I could be totally wrong. I know that if they're people from, like, you know, that you like listening to, or actors, people that you want to have something really cool done of, or a memorial piece. Burnt Relic's the man. You're on Instagram too, right, buddy? I know I've been seeing a lot of your stuff, but I haven't been sharing it out. Stephen Wallace, welcome, buddy. Because I never know, you know, what's secret and what's not. Speaking of what's not secret, you know, I like weird little knives, and I cannot lie. So this is probably one of the weirder knives I've traded for. And I am really stoked to show this to you guys because it is weird. First of all, it's fuchsia. This is a little Koch Tools custom chisel grind. Slurpee Saver. Hey, Kathleen Smith, channel member. Welcome, young lady. With some JG10 scales, a little lanyard loop there at the back. And this is a little guy. I'm guessing it's going to be probably 5 inches. About 5.5 inches. But when he showed me that, I just thought it was too cool not to have in my collection of little knives. And it's definitely got a beefy. This is like I told my buddy A to Z, he had Kyle sharpen him up a dagger that he'd gotten from Joey Roman on the secondary market. And they're not set up to be slicey knives, right? These are set up for kind of different purposes. And I think they're very effective. Hinder Collector, Brant, what is up, dude? I was just starting to say that last night I was cruising around. I'd finished up some stuff and was going looking for the honey bucket to see what was going on. And I came across you and Maddie and Mad Yako. And was it Fred the Lug? What's Fred's name? Because I really enjoyed listening to him. More push and poke than slash. Absolutely, Joe. All right. I need to try. Check it out. Hold on, guys. You know me. I don't know if I'm being trolled or if I'm learning about something I wasn't aware of. Let's see. Dude, is this you? Fred the Lug. Yes, Fred the Lug was fantastic. Geoknife. Is your website geoknife.com before I flash it up here? Because I'm not familiar and these look very nice. I'm not sure if this is you. Geek Machinist, what's going on, buddy? Happy Friday, buddy. Cannabis Soul, what is up? I watch, I get sucked in the weirdest YouTube algorithm stuff showing me videos, right? Let me get that. Welcome, buddy. Dude, I hope you feel all right. It'll get better. You lurk away and I'll be thinking about you, dude. We'll all be sending you some positive vibes. The Smoltz one I've never checked out, and I want to look at what the intersect is. Geoknife, is this your site? I'll pull it up and show it, but I don't want to show somebody else's site if it's not. Let me see. Dylan, what is up, brother? Welcome, man. Good to see you. So I think these look like them. They look like, the prices look sick. The knives look very nice. I'm looking at 3 knives at the top that have axis locks or bar locks, whatever you want to call them. And I would show it. Is this them? I'm just going to go ahead and show it because Geoknife's not kicking in and telling me if that's his website. And then I want to look at. Is this them? Because I'm really liking the look. And the prices are fantastic. And they're not just that many. So you've got some PP color, some Ultim, some Bowies, and some drop points. Anywhere from 65 to 125 in titanium and M390. I'm kind of a Bowie freak. Is this you, buddy? Yes. All right, guys. This is somebody that I did not even know because I don't watch a lot of content. But these are some very interesting looking knives for $125 for titanium and M390 in a design that looks. I love I call that kind of a reverse octagonal, which is not what it's called, but it's very grippy, but not at all aggressive texture. Connect. I'm just reading. I'll read slow. Hey man, I love learning about new knives. Lee Wolf, welcome, brother. My buddy Lee. Good to see you, Lee. I'm glad you're hopefully feeling a little better, bud. I've been thinking about you. Evening, Jesse. How are you, my man? Yeah, Geo knife. Those are nice, and I'm gonna check into that a little further. Are you on Instagram? Let me see if you are. 'Cause I need to go send Scotch a link anyway. Hold on a second. Geo knife. I I was gonna get a monitor this evening. It came up on sale on Amazon, but instead I paid a deposit to Shane for a NAF that I can't wait to get. You're welcome, buddy. Are you on IG? I didn't see you on there. I was just searching for you because I was gonna. Oh, I could probably link from your page. Hold on. Yep. Let's see what we got here. Instagram. Hey guys, 14 followers. He's chronically underfollowed. Let's check this out. I mean, I'll grab one when I can and we'll take a look at it, but oh, was he cool, Cannabis Soul? Yo, I would just go give him a follow because I think anybody that's bringing stuff to the community, to me, it's yeah. Y'all check him out. Check to see what you think. I don't know much about it. When Kyle gets in here, um, Kyle's been the one that's bringing me up to not be a professional sharpener, but be good enough to sharpen all my really nice stuff. And I'm going to sharpen a knife for Lee. And I hope he wants me to sharpen more for him because I do it for, now I don't want to get into sharpening, but I do it for just therapy. For me, I like sharpening knives. I do it for my buddy A to Z. Um, it's just one of those things that I want to be able to do. I want to get better at it, and I've got the system for it. It's just a matter of taking time. But new stuff, there hadn't been a bunch. I have been. This is probably one of the biggest knives besides my Formax I own. I don't know if y'all have ever fooled with a Momo from Kaiser, designed by a dude named Igor somebody. Thank you, Richard. Yeah, hit the light, hit the button, hit the button. But this knife, I'm usually a smaller knife guy, but this knife, for as big as it is, which is freaking huge, does not carry like a big knife. And unlike the Mini, which I also have, because Kaiser sent them to me to check out, this one I can middle finger flick. And I would think, I'm not a big food prepper, but I would think if you were doing much food prep or if you were doing much detail cuts, I mean, this is a badass knife. I mean, you can almost butcher a deer with this, I would think. Again, I'm not a hard use guy, and I wouldn't say this is a hard use knife. It's 154 cm, but it's huge, guys. I mean, this is a almost 9 3/4 inch knife, which Kaiser's real big. I was watching last night when Mattisfaction and Brant and I gotta send Scotch. When Brant and Fred the Lug were on last night, they were talking about Kaiser, and I guess a lot of those companies are very big into learning what the market's buying, right? What size blades are selling the best? They produce based on that. Kyle, you take your time, buddy. Whenever you're ready, like I said, you've got carte blanche. I'm sending Scotchy a link if I could find it. And he doesn't have to join, but if he wants to, he's welcome because he is part of the little group. I sent Pocket Metal a link, but he's always out getting food for the furries that live around his house, and he might jump in. I hope so. We will see. I always want it to get a little weird, but at the same time, be informative, right? Be something that we look at some knives. I've got some new stuff pulled up that has actually been coming in because I never go look. Double D, howdy, buddy. Welcome. Welcome to Friday Night Flicks. I rarely, since I haven't been working, I rarely go look at new stuff that's coming into knife stores. But I've been going a couple times, and I'm going to jump out of chat for a second. But White Mountain Knives, who I go to quite a bit because that's where I used to get all my Tucsons. And they've gotten in some more. They've gotten in some Tucson. I don't think they had the pictures up yet, but a couple little fixies that I found pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. So this is the new arrivals from White Mountain Knives. Well, I should just go to Fixed Blade. A lot of concepts. And I'll tell you, the knives I've seen from them and they've sent me, I've been very impressed with. The prices, I've been very impressed with. Just to give you a quick, before I go to Fixed Blades, this Cryo is an old design. It used to be around, I don't know, when I first started seeing concepts. It was G10, I think. This one's orange peel titanium, S35 on bearings, very well put together, whether you flip it, it's got a great flipper tab, or you reverse flick it. And on their site, it's $121. And this is a full-size knife. This is a big boy. It's got some weight to it. You can't really see on my camera, but it's got a really nice orange peel on the titanium reversible clip. That's just one. And then a brother who traded knives with me sent me this for a future giveaway, which is also a concept. I've never seen this knife before. Don't know what it's called, but I know it's sharp. I ran it down a ceramic rod today. One of my work sharp ceramic rod that's got the angle finder on it. And I've really enjoyed this knife. It'll be one of y'all's at some point, but I'm going to do a video on it. I need to find out if they're still available. My point is, concept is selling things very, very reasonably. And I know that they spun off of Kaiser at some point. I don't know how the whole thing worked, but this guy is a hog sticker. I personally like the size of the mini better because the mini is not a small knife. It's a medium-sized knife. However, for some reason, and it's got good action, I don't know if it's just the way that it's shaped. I have a hard time middle finger flicking it, which is a nothing to most people. But to me, I love middle finger flicking. So, and then I've been carrying a ton this little tiny knife that when it came in, I was kind of bummed because it was smaller than I thought it was going to be. Chris229, channel member, welcome. But I've got a 3.5-inch hand across, medium large. And this little guy fits my hand just perfectly for my type of EDC, which is opening cat food and opening the occasional Amazon package and opening food, right? Whatever. This is a great little knife. It's called Tyconic, and it's Tough Knives. It's a company they started, and they did the collaboration with Bostede on the PSYOP. And I thought when I first saw this that this was going to be a PSYOP without a front flipper, but it was going to be about that size. It's nowhere near that size. This is a little guy. But when you go to their website, it's just called, what's up, Five Door? It's just called the Tyconic One, and their website's tyconic.com. So I would think there's going to be more things coming from them. I've always been a Tough Knives kind of fan. Let me pull it up. Tyconic. So their website, when I was doing the review, trying to get some information on it, was very, very vague. So you go to their homepage, and they've got 4 models. They're basically the same 4 body styles that you had on the PSYOP. However, these 2 guys have come together to make these little guys, and I'm sure they're going to offer other ones. There's Brother Scotch.
Hey, what's up?
Welcome, man. What's up?
Nothing, just, chilling out for the night.
How have you been, dude?
Good. Work sucks. Just bullshit like that. Just,
Yeah, beats the alternative. Trust me.
it's just spending money to piss money away because this company it's just a fucking nightmare.
No, but it'll
Excuse my
turn
language.
around. Is it one job, or is it just a series of jobs?
It's one job. It's not the dealer. It's the bin company themselves, and they are just. We went out there before Christmas, 2 weeks before Christmas, and they sent us the wrong peak ring, which is the top circle that everything connects to. Waited a month for them to send the right one. We went out there this week, and we're short 1 roof sheet.
Is that the one with the trusses you were talking about that were fit for the wrong
Yeah.
top?
Yep. And now we're short another
That was
piece.
before your vacation, wasn't it?
That was before my vacation, and that just shipped last Friday. It showed up Monday, so we went out Tuesday.
So you mobilized everybody going thinking you're getting ready to fix a problem that's been sitting there.
It's just one cluster after another. And I talked to you. I'm like, are they going to cover me? Like, I'm spending thousands of dollars in payroll and hotels and food, and we're not getting anything done because they keep fucking me over on shortages. And we'll see.
Dude, I'm sure they will. I mean, because I'm sure you're important to them. I mean, I'm sure to have a good installer versus an installer that's not there when they're supposed to be. That's not. I mean, I wouldn't think they'd want to piss you off, right?
Yeah, we'll see. We will see. We'll find out. But I'm home, and I said, I don't fucking care. I'm not going back for another couple weeks. I'm going to Phoenix next week, and fuck off. So,
are you going for pleasure?
Yeah, we're going. Me and 3 buddies go down, and we meet up with Satu Saturday night, hang out, and then Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday we golf. So,
Steven, I'm going to the link. I went to their page and tried to find it. Oh yeah, that's cool. Is that a little foldable pry bar? Let me see if I can send this link to myself. Because for some reason, no, I can. Yes, I can. Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna click on it right here.
oh, so what else is new? I feel like I've been out of the game for a while.
Dude, very, very little has been new in my world. I did get a really cool knife in that is not your jam, but it's one that I traded for with a buddy. Where'd that just go?
5 door, I didn't even sign up for it because I've got a couple of knives on order. I had one knife offered to me, a Stang, at a pretty decent price, and I'm just kind of. Have you ever wanted a knife so bad? Like, it's one that I'm for some reason refusing to pay over retail for. And then I was just kind of so perturbed this week I didn't even enter the lottery. Did you get 1.5?
What lottery was that? Hey, Anthony, how are you, bud?
The Stang Blade Works.
So you guys have such a vernacular of knives that to me,
it's a knife. I'm trying to think of a knife I've been after for as long as I've been after this knife.
Is this an Instagram? Is he on Instagram?
He's on Instagram and Facebook and
What would the name of the company be again?
STANG, Stang Blade Works. He's out of Canada. Super nice guy. I've talked to him.
Most
Makes
of
an
them, I
amazing.
mean, work.
Are you
And you-
serious, 5-door? God damn you. But congrats, man. I'm interested to see how you like it. I am so mad. Like I said, I passed up on, and he was only offering it. Like it wasn't, I mean, it was the best deal I've seen on one. It was like $50 over what table was, and I still just didn't budge. I was still kind of
Are
just
these
kind of
them right
pissed
here?
off.
This table of knives?
Yep, those are
Okay,
them.
let's take a look. It's just music.
Yeah.
I like the blade shape. Are they all
Yeah.
the same blade shape? Are they all
All the same blade shape.
different finishes? It looks like on the titanium.
Yeah, he does different milling but just dude building knives out of his garage. So, but I've
Like
been after that
Donnie.
knife for like 5 years.
What made you notice them?
I can't remember how I even found them. I might have found them through Grimsmo back in the day because they're both out of can. I have no idea
Is
how I
that a
even.
CNC machine, or is that this? Or is
Yeah,
that
those are
something?
what do they call those things? Those are the. I
So
can't
he's not
remember.
doing everything by hand. He's got a little help, and I don't have any problem with that. I think
Yeah.
so. He's not doing exactly what Donnie's doing.
No, not like Donnie, but
I saw Donnie had another one finished. I was wondering if that was yours or somebody else's. I
no,
saw
that's
it.
5 doors, isn't it? The chisel grind.
Yeah, let me go to it. Hold on. Let me stop sharing because it never goes when I search. Yes.
Yeah, because I've got another Donnie knife coming up. I've got one that 5 doors fall. I've got another one that's shipping in another week or so. So trying to play cool. Plus, I bought another fucking guitar because I'm an idiot. And
You're not an idiot. You're liking it. You're playing them, right?
oh fuck, I fucking love it. It's awesome.
Are you
So
using YouTube for anything that you like songs that you want to recreate?
Maybe this will be a conversation for Pocket Metal on Monday for his thing since
Hopefully
it's
he'll
not
jump
knife
in
related.
here.
But it's
Got the link.
so like I said, so for the last couple of years, my daughter's been teaching herself on a hold on, yeah, that's 5 doors
It's a
knife.
chisel ground. That's beautiful. I mean, look at the blade. And knowing Donnie, clowny Donnie, and seeing what his hands can produce, to me, it's just that's like next level.
How is it 5? As soon as I saw that chisel grind Tanto, I said that's what I want on my Vapor. It's
So
going to
what-
match my Ripley color scheme wise, but I really think I want a chisel grind on my Vapor. Then
Talk to me about chisel grinds, because this little knife that I got in on a trade
here's
is
one. See,
yeah, I see it.
round
But
on that side.
what's the
Flat on
jam
that
on
side.
them? What's the because I've got one right here in my
It's
hand.
sharp. I don't know why. You'll have to ask Kyle. I don't care about sharpening and edge angles and stuff like that. They're
Well,
sharp as shit.
they're very sharp, and I
Yeah.
think it would make sense with half. And this is an English major who doesn't know anything about blade geometry, but if you've taken they seem to have a wider angle, the ones I've seen on that one side, which would make sense because you don't
I've
want
got
it.
1, 2, 3 chisel grind knives.
And it doesn't drive you crazy. See, I've only got the A100, but it does bother me looking at it. And I'm not OCD about centered knives because I know it's centered, but it looks so weird in the handle.
No, I don't mind it. Yeah, it's weird to look at that, right?
But you know what it is, so it's
Yeah.
not something that's going to bother you.
No. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have Donnie do my
5-door.
Vapor.
When you say chisel on the proper side, so if you're right-handed, that's what I've always wondered. If is there like a right-handed, left-handed chisel? Does it matter the way you cut? I've never. And I can ask Kyle when he gets here. I'm just not.
I'm trying to think. I've got 2. I don't know what the correct answer is. He just said that, and I have no fucking clue because.
But I've heard that before. He's not the only person I've
I
heard
know,
sing.
but people have asked me, and I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't know. What's
Well,
the
I
right
think
side?
if you cut one way, it's going to be it. I could be wrong, but like this one, for example, which is it's on the right side. If I was right-handed, I think the chisel, or not the chisel, the bevel is supposed to be on that side. Emerson does it the wrong side for appearance. It's supposed to be on the lock side. Okay. So if
What,
this
the flat side is supposed to be on the lock side, or the grind? I don't know.
flat side, I think is what he said.
Flat side is supposed to be on the lock side.
Let's see. Hold on. Well, let's go look at Donnie's and we'll know because it's on the right side. So I've got it right here. Let me share it again. And we'll determine if this is the chisel, the flat side on the lock side. So it looks like the bevel is on the lock side, Scotch.
The
Because it looks to me,
bevel,
yeah, it looks to me like
like
this is
that.
the show side and this is where the flat is.
The flat edge is on the show side.
The bevel is on the lock side. And that's what
Cool.
Five George says is right. See?
I don't know.
Which would mean if you opened it up, I'm trying to see how that turns into this fixed blade. It's backwards. It's
Dwyer
just
does it right too. Yeah, both my Dwyers and my Strider are on the lock side. So yeah, I'm gonna hit you up in a couple. I don't know. I'm not ready. I don't want to spend the money yet. It's still just like I said. It was after watching my daughter teach herself. I just kind of YouTubed it and taught myself some basics. But now actually learning notes and chords in the proper way, I can spend hours doing it's. I mean, I'll just get lost for hours, and my wife will be like, "Hey, time to do something else," you know.
This is gonna probably not make no sense to anybody. You know, y'all don't like the Grateful Dead, but they've got a song called Terrapin Station that's like 4 distinct different parts, and it's got a chord in it called a D sharp 7th or D sharp minor 7th diminished 5th. It's basically a little weird 4-finger chord that you make just like this. It's on 2 frets, but you split the 2 strings here and 2 strings here. It sounds great, but I'm learning these different chords, and this is a song that I've been spending 2 weeks trying to play, and it is an absolute trip. I mean, it's so when you get into it and start learning it, you think, man, these people thought this shit up, whether they were tripping or not. This is some intense music.
Yeah, like I said, just learning, and I don't know. So I signed up for something called. I'm gonna kind of get some better basic knowledge first, and then take some in-person lessons. But I bought something called Justin Guitar.
It's one of my favorites, Geek, and I've been learning the shit out of it.
And it's just been awesome. It's like just doing proper instead of just messing around and you're like, oh yeah, I got that song. It sounds good. I've copied it off YouTube, but actually learning stuff. It's a lot of fun. It's something I've wanted to do my entire life. And so I'm gonna hit you up later, probably this summer and figure out a better amp. But
if you're playing in your house, you want something, you can get some really good sounding modeling amps that don't have to rattle the windows, right?
See, I would like something to rattle the windows, but I also want something to sound good. Like the practice amp I got is decent, but I want just better sound. So
I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to show the St. Stephen dude, and I'm just not looking at the name, but this is, if you're wanting to learn how to play Grateful Dead songs, this guy, and I'm a 63 show Deadhead, so I'm big into the Dead, but this guy has taught me more, and I love his teaching style. But what I was going to tell you, Scotch, is in-person lessons are good if you like that. I never took a lesson. I'm not a great guitarist, but with the internet, with people like Pellegrino, I watch his content. Not only do they have free stuff, but they've got online courses where you can kind of take them at your pace.
See, that's what I've been doing with this. It's called I think it's Justin Guitar. He's on YouTube, but I also paid for his online course. And it's and I just keep going back and just playing the same modules over and over until I'm
that's the trick, because you're trying to mushy.
It's a pretty, and I don't know anything about online, but like the the chord, learning chord and timing your chord changes, and it keeps track of it better. Like your best, it keeps track of for like, hey, this was your best one. You want to try to better it, and you try it, and but yeah, it's actually really enjoyable. Actually, like learning, I guess, the correct way to play instead of just teaching yourself without anything. So
Exactly. And the fun thing is that's I think tricky for some teachers, depending on, but at your age, you'd probably be able to dictate it more, is you want to be able to be exposed once you've learned the basics to music that you want to replicate or that you like or style so that you're staying engaged, that
instead of,
you're not
and that's
thrown
the
to a
thing.
teacher who's trying to run you through exercises.
Like I bought, but it's me being a kid, right? So so I bought that Strat when I was on with you in Pocket Metal, and
Which is a beautiful guitar, by the way.
I bought that because I love Pink Floyd and David Gilmour, and his black Strat is famous, right? And I've always idolized that guitar since I was 18 years old, And then I just bought a Dave Grohl Epiphone.
Oh, dude, is that the one you had on Facebook tonight or on
Yeah.
Instagram?
Yeah. I feel broken because I bought a Chinese. Like I'm so hard on Chinese knives. I bought a Chinese guitar when I have the means not to, but I don't have the means without my wife divorcing me to buy
And
the
there's no
Gibson
need.
version of it right now.
And it's one of the things that we were talking about in the chat last night that I do believe about clones, as bad as I think they are. Chinese guitars are the manufacturer trying to make an affordable guitar. They're still built to very good standards, and they're still benefiting Americans.
It's
So
funny though, like all the research, like I was literally, so I got that Strat a month ago.
this guy has a great online course right here.
So for the last 2 weeks, I've been looking at these, and I didn't, I wanted that one, and then when I found out that they were $15,000 to $20,000, I was like, ugh.
Yeah, those are hollow body, very intricate guitars.
And then you find out that Epiphone, who Gibson owns, just released last year their version of it, and they worked with the custom shop and blah 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 blah. And I was ready to buy it, and I'm like, I can't. It's made in China. I can't. So then I started looking at Gibsons again, and they just had, like, right before I bought this, they did their Murphy Lab, and they dropped some 335s without the pick guard, just a really clean looking guitar. But it was like, I'm not a fan of that F hole. I like the diamond. I like Dave Grohl, but that Pelham blue, that diamond hole, I like to look at that. And it's like with anything, you have to kind of like the look of something.
Exactly.
So you want to play it more, right? So
exactly. And it's a beautiful guitar. And like I'm saying,
it sounds amazing. It's awesome.
Gibson is a great American company, but they have gone downhill so badly in the last year. They bought Mesa Boogie, one of the greatest amp companies of my generation. Mesa Boogie Mark V was it when I was listening to bands, and Mesa Boogies continue to be a leader in amps. And so they bought Mesa Boogie, and they kept the guy on who's as old probably as the Gibson CEO to be, Kyle is in the house. We're about to go sharpening. Good to see you, brother. But
what's happening, guys?
they fired him last month. They fired the guy that was overseeing Mesa Boogie, and it was about pricing. They wanted to cut component costs in an amp, and he's like, you can't do that and keep the sound to be authentic.
It's funny, after like toiling over this purchase,
you made the right choice. Is my point.
I will when Gibson puts them out, they're $7,000, and then they protect the collector market. I've learned, so there's only 400 US of that Pelham blue out there,
right? So you got the
$15,000 to $20,000 on the secondary.
There's a lot of content on YouTube from guitar guys that do the gear reviews that are very sour on Gibson's custom quality now.
And they do it because they're protecting the collector market.
Peavies are fantastic amps.
But I also learned that, like, Dave's played this one on stage. Cool, whatever. But researching this, because they kept talking about, like, after Gibson acquired Epiphone in the 50s or 60s or whatever, then they were made in like Wisconsin, then they moved them somewhere south, and they went to Korea, and then in like the 2000s they moved them over to China, and they make it sound like they owned the plant in China. And from coming from like the knife world, like, I know that's not possible.
Right.
So I started digging in,
company.
and there is, like, just like I've said, so there's a city in China that makes knives, right? And then there's a city in China that makes optics. And then there's a city in China that does nothing but make guitars.
And electronics, and down the line, different
Yeah,
cities are
so
specialized.
it's just that the people that
way to do it.
Going back to the whole knife thing, like, guys always like, oh, China. No, that's they no one's saying they're not good manufacturers. And there's different levels of Chinese guitars, right? Just like there's different levels of Chinese knives. They've made their economy about being able to produce stuff. And where whole cities are just producing stuff for us to buy. So, end of the story. I feel really fucking bad. I feel like a hypocrite. It's a beautiful guitar.
Don't feel like a hypocrite. I've got a Chinese Paul Reed Smith, and I've got an American Strat, and I enjoy playing both of them. I couldn't afford an American Paul Reed.
I was shocked how much bigger this is than the Strat.
Well, doesn't it sound so much better unplugged?
I haven't tried it unplugged yet. I've just played it.
It sounds like an acoustic, a mini acoustic.
It does. It's not as loud, but yeah, because of the hollow body.
Everyone's an easy song to learn.
Longer. I was worried, like, I don't have huge hands, and the neck is bigger. Like, I don't know all the specs yet, how guys are measuring necks and fucking what do they call them? The different, like,
radius. You can have a different radius. And
I was a little worried because I'm like, fuck, this sounds like a giant fucking neck. It's actually really comfortable to play, and it hasn't made my hand, like, the Strat. It's got a skinnier neck, but it's more rounded, right? So it's just been fun. It's fun to have a new hobby. Vibrators, yes. And it's just kind of fun going down this rabbit hole of something you've wanted to do your entire life, and like something that your wife doesn't yell at you for spending money on.
Dylan, Ace Frehley's the first guitarist that made me want to play guitar. And that's when I was in elementary school.
But I'll let you and Kyle get at it. I'm gonna go watch a movie with the fam.
You don't have to go, buddy.
I haven't been in a while, so I just want
to. Do you sharpen your knives? You send them off, don't you?
No, I will sharpen my work knives by hand until they're so fucked up that I have to send them off. Like I just did. This sounds really horrible, but I took a $2,800 Miller Brothers custom knife, and I was using my work sharp field sharpener on it just to try and
my field sharp work sharpener I've used on a lot of expensive knives.
Those are good to touch up, but they're not good for sharpening.
No, they're not good
for maintenance.
That means Bama Ninja. He's mentioned it. He is a guitar player, and he's probably.
I bet he'd play one.
He does play guitar.
But I bet he'd play a Chinese guitar. Like, I think he's even said.
No, he's got a bunch of custom Gibson custom shop shit hanging from his walls.
I'm a Fender guy when it comes to Fender Gibson, but that's just me.
I think I'm Fender over Gibson, but this 335 is a beautiful fucking guitar.
Oh yeah, it is.
Speaking of Medford, the Medford TFF4 is probably their best knife ever.
I was just looking at that. Hold on, where did I see it? I think I saw it on DL.
It's amazing. They really did a good job on it.
Do y'all know that
blows the Slim Mini out of the water.
Coming in 15V, a sprint run? Let me find that Medford. Where did I see it? Would it have been on DLT or would it have been on?
I know they just had a. I know they just did something the other day on Instagram.
TFF4, right?
TFF4.
Yeah, here it is.
But like for how good like the Slim MIDI is as an EDC knife, Still got some sharp edges, and it's
Is this
not.
a thinner knife too? I mean, is this thin?
It's a little bit thicker than the Slim Midi, but it's phenomenal.
So you played with one?
I have one. I have that one right there without the black blade. Yeah. The flipper, the pocket clip is phenomenal. Like Medford finally figured out how to make a pocket clip.
I've been talking to Casey Lynch, and unfortunately he's so busy with scales and stuff. I was like, dude, I will send you this Slim Midi, this infraction, because I think they could use the same clip. Because Medford would finally agree to send me a clip.
Oh, blade shooter G. I know lots of things. Here's the thing: if you want to fucking start a fight, we'll start a fight. Where I can choose to spend my fucking money, I choose to spend it here. I don't want to get in this stupid fight. It is my choice. That's why I felt bad about spending the money on a Chinese guitar. That's why I will only buy an American knife. Do some research. They don't have great living wages over there. They don't have a fucking choice. If you want to start a fight, I've done my research.
Hey, Scotch, before you take off, I got something to show you, buddy.
Yeah.
I finished that project, that Hinder.
Oh, the copper one?
Yeah.
Let me make you big. Hold on. I'm going to make you big. You're big. Let me.
And my appliances are Samsung, and I'm assuming they're from Korea, so.
Ooh.
Did I ship? I didn't. Did you get the black hardware? Because it was all copper, right?
Yeah. Now watch this.
Oh, fuck you! Who did
How
that?
sick is that? He's got a secret Cerakote connection.
Damn, dude, that is good.
And that was hollowed by Dave too. He did
Kyle,
Dave regrind on that.
Dang, that's a good looking knife. I lost so much money on that knife. You're welcome.
And then I put the I finally found one of the copper.
Isn't it crazy how hard it is just to find those stupid little filler tabs?
Yeah, extremely. Yeah, I think that looks great having the contrast like that back and forth.
That looks amazing. That makes that knife so much better looking.
I mean, it's absolutely its own.
I didn't know if you flipped it or if you still had it. I'm glad that you fucking got it done.
Yeah, I've been trying to get shit back and forth done. So I was trying to get all the pieces for it, and then my buddy did all the Cerakote work for it. So,
Ouchie, what's up?
Yeah, I think it turned out banging.
From in today, and they got held up. The snow has held everything up, just backed it up, even though there's no snow anywhere to be seen. The Eris, I don't know if I've seen that. Let's look at it.
It's a little knife.
But
no,
Dylan,
he did a good job. The
Satu did hologrind that.
I'm gonna hang out with Satu. I think we're going to so next Saturday, me and Satu will be walking around what's that fucking called? Barrett Jackson.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. That's a
the last 2 years he has had dinner with us, hung out for a couple hours, and then driven home. This year he's gonna stay the night in the hotel with us.
That's cool. So, are you guys playing when you're out there?
We're playing. Yeah, we play Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We're flying Saturday. We're just gonna hang out, drink beers, have some good food, hang out with Dave, and then.
Is he gonna slap some balls with y'all?
No, he doesn't golf. He's gonna take off in the morning, and then we're gonna go play golf.
So, you playing in Phoenix, or were you playing at?
Yeah, we're playing Lookout Mountain the first day, Eagle Mountain, and then Talking Sticks.
Yeah, Walking Stick.
Walking Stick, the casino. What's the casino?
Oh, okay. Walking Sticks is the private one. It's the Mickelson course. Or used to be.
Yeah, we're playing Talking. One of that casino right there outside of like whatever it is between however they consider Scottsdale and Phoenix. That casino, Talking Sticks. We're playing one of those two courses.
And you don't have to give up any secret, Scotch, before you go. But isn't Dave's plan to be making a knife or making knives?
Yeah, that's what he's talked about, like we've talked about too. Like he's gotten not burnout, but he's gotten a lot of shit, sent to him, right? Like when people he'll do the Chinese stuff and he appreciates it, but then people were sending him fucking clones and he just got fucking burnt out on it,
On just grinding to grind.
And not just that, but just some of the stuff he was getting in that people wanted him to work on. it'd be like a $50 budget knife someone wanted to reground, and he's just like, and Dave's gone full blown nothing but, for where his interests have gone.
Right.
And he'd be like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And his wife would be like, you can do it.
I mean, he's just the warmest guy. I mean,
he appreciates. I think he didn't get burned out. He just got kind of not burned out, but like he's ready to move on. He's done it for what, over a year now, and
exactly. He's gotten his practice in, like he said to me.
Yeah.
It was practice at
but
first.
like you said, he's in no hurry, which is good. I think some guys, like with me, like I'm gonna learn guitar. I'm gonna really learn. I'm not just going all in. Where he's like, I'm gonna make a knife. Well, he's had the fucking equipment for over a year now. He's very methodical.
Right.
So
And that'll make for a very desirable product.
Yeah. What how long did he grind for?
He wasn't even charging for a while either. I mean, that was the crazy part.
I know, he was doing it for free and spending money on belts.
Well,
and didn't want you to reimburse him for shipping.
Right.
He would ship the shit back.
I sent him that Hinder to work on. He did the hollow grind on that. We kind of designed how I wanted it done. Then he saved my ass on a Pena that I got a strip screw and I tried drilling it out and the drill slipped. So he ended up being able to fix that for me too. And he didn't want anything. I'm like, bullshit. He's like, well, nope, I'm sending it back. You can't get me anything. I'm like, well, that's bullshit because I know your address. So I just went online and ordered him a bunch of belts and sent them to him.
Yeah, it's funny when you have someone's PayPal, they're like, don't give me, and you know what their PayPal is and you know where they live.
Right.
So yeah, I'm excited to see and I think he's going to do it very differently. Like Heater, like Todd, great custom knife maker, but he does this, I think Dave wants to do like 2 or 3 or 5 knives, and then he's going to move on to the next model and try something different,
Right.
So it's going to be, I'm excited. I'm excited for him. He's been talking about it for a long time. I mean, 3 years, 3 years ago, he had talked to Grayman, because he loves the Sati, right? And Grayman had given him permission to remake this knife, right?
Has that kind of been a passion project or started out?
He was going to make some Satus in 3V, but then he was like, I want to do my own thing. I just don't want to remake someone else's thing. So, yeah, I think he's ready. It's going to be fun. I mean, his whole journey has been fun to watch.
Well, and the way he shares what he's willing to share on Sundays is much to me.
Dave he is the best of us, right? Like Dave wouldn't lash out like I lashed out at whoever it was about China. I don't fucking care anymore. I'm not in this for the fucking money. You don't have to watch me. You don't have to like me. But I'm going to give you my opinion. I'm too tired of being the nice guy. I'm too tired of saying, it's okay. Yeah, guess what? These YouTubers making their knives in China, they're in it for you. No, they're not out to make fucking money. They're making a fucking killing. So I don't even fucking care anymore. It doesn't, I don't care. I can be a dick.
Again, everybody's got
Dave won't be a dick. Dave won't be a dick because he's not. He doesn't have that in him. No,
Dave is to his own detriment. I mean, because he and I've had conversations about, dude, I mean, and he's like, well, eventually I will have to, get shipping. I was like, dude, you're providing a service. He's like, no, I'm practicing. I was like, you've been practicing. I've seen the scales you made last year for Satus. I mean, I think he's just probably trying to build his confidence up.
Speaking of, I saw a Satu for sale the other day and I almost snagged it, but it was gone already. It only lasted like 15. It lasted like 15 minutes because it was the guy had it.
What's crazy is they don't go for dumb money.
It was $280.
Yeah. I'm in this knife for like $450 and then another $50 for Dave's scale. And it was brand new. And like with a lot of knives, this knife was brand new. Never touched it before I got it.
Yeah. I think I put a deposit on a little Shane knife, one of his stock models. And Gnarly Charlie, what's up, brother? And I'm looking so forward to getting it. And doing a review on it. I think it'll raise some
Have you
eyebrows.
seen his maker's mark yet?
Let me see.
It's a mushroom stamp.
Oh, is it really?
Hey, do you know what I'm talking about?
Hold on. I'm going to his.
I don't think he's put it out there yet, has he, Kyle?
No.
Okay, I haven't seen it then. I have
But
not
you
seen
know what a mushroom stamp is for the tramp stamp?
Not exactly.
Well, I'll let him explain it to you then. Kyle, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I do.
All right.
I picked up a little joke wolf.
It's yeah, it'll be good. So, all right, I'll let you guys get to sharpening. I'm gonna go hang with the family, watch a movie, and
I didn't mean to run you off, buddy.
oh no, I just like I said, I just got home today, and like I said, I got a couple days with the fam, and then I'm off to Phoenix, and then back off to work. So
Go do your
Well,
bonding, Dad.
we're gonna watch a movie and just kind of hang out. So later,
All right,
guys.
brother. Jump in
All
if you
right.
want to. We'll be here
Talk to you guys later.
later.
See you.
So, Kyle, what's been happening in the sharpening world, dude? I did what I felt was a good edge on my concept, and I'm wanting to do my sharp by design. I think I'm ready to do it.
Yeah.
But by just taking it slow and horizontal has been the trick for me. And the speed has been the thing that's made me think about grind patterns. What'd you have on your mind tonight to share?
I really didn't have anything. I was just coming to see if we had some questions and kind of, free fall.
That's the best way to do it.
So
those of you who sharpen your knives or want to sharpen your knives, have you had any burning questions? Kyle, did you see the new chisel grind I got in? From I traded with a brother who we all know, but it's a Scotch Tools. This little guy?
No.
This little Fuchsia guy?
Oh wow.
Interesting little knife.
Yeah. Is it single edge or both? Double
It's
edge?
It's a chisel grind, so it's nothing on the top sharpened.
Yeah, that's what I meant. There's anything on the swedge. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty thick. I don't think you could sharpen it, so it's a single. Yeah, Kyle, how to sharpen a chisel grind? And I know you shared that, but Crispy was asking.
Okay. So the way that they're ground, actually, I've got one. Hang on one second. I've got one in that I have not done yet. I was getting ready to. So here's an Elvia. And so this is your primary. You see your primary bevel down here, right?
Yep, let me make you big, but I do see it. Let me just make it where other people can see it. Yep.
All right. So you got your primary on this side. Typically, then you would have nothing on the back. It would be completely flat. So if you look at the way it's ground, if you can see that up close, I can't see that and wait on delay.
That's got an angle going to the zero grind.
Well, it's not a zero. So but you see how you have material that's offset. It's asymmetrical. It's not designed to be completely straight up and down like a normal blade. So if you look at a normal knife where the plunge is at, you would have, see how that's centered?
Mm-hmm.
And then this one's offset. Is that visible?
Yeah, it's visible. First question would be why, as a knife designer, as a knife designer would someone choose to do that?
Here we go.
What's the functional gain?
If you look right here, you can tell how that's asymmetrical. It's not exactly even there. That's how that's designed. So you're basically taking your blade stock and you're removing more from one side of the blade than the other. Okay.
And that's to make it thinner, make it cut better, ideally? I mean, is that the design thought behind it?
Chisel grounds are for several different reasons. So they slice well. They're also designed a lot of times, so like think of it, a chisel, like for woodworking, you have a flat back and you have a steep front. And what that does is it lets you pare very easily. It lets you cut through things finely. And if you think about it too, for like food processing, there's a lot of times guys will bias their knife to one side or the other for food release. They want it to always come off of the blade one direction.
Right.
So that's why you'll see, so like this one was sharpened prior before, and they sharpened this side like you normally would, and then they went ahead and sharpened the back side too, which you don't do normally. So because the angles will be different, because what happens is, so like if I were to sharpen this, I would sharpen this, say, we'll just throw a round number, say it was 20 degrees, which it's not. You'd throw that 20 degrees on that side, right?
Right.
When I go to this side, I'm not actually going to be going back and forth at 20 degrees. I'm going to be deburring. So I'm just going backwards, knocking that burr off, flip it back over, and then start on the other stone.
So you're basically just finishing one stone and then slightly removing or rolling the burr on the other side.
So if this is at 20 degrees, right, and I flip it over and I keep it at 20 degrees or higher, it's not going to touch the flat part of the blade. It's only going to be touching the very, very apex, which is going to remove that burr.
Gotcha.
So it flips to this side, then I go to the next stone and go through the process all over again. What they did was, when they flipped it, they decided that they were going to go ahead and create a second one. So they just started sharpening and did a whole entire secondary bevel.
So are you going to fix it or just keep it?
I can't, because I can't put material back on there. So he wants it to keep it the same way it is now and just make it sharp, because it's not sharp anymore. So
did they sharpen that on like freehand, or would they sharpen that on a rod, or could you just do it? Do they do it on a system?
I'll do this. I mean, I can do this on a system with narrow stones.
Right.
And what I'll do is, because of how close that plunge is, I'll take this blade. This is one of those cases where I'll take the blade out of the handle so I can get the stone all the way down to that point, and I'll remove the thumb stud too, or thumb disc, excuse me.
Because the way you want to have it centered in the clamp for what you're trying to do?
No. So like, I would take this off because the stone would hit it, but I'd also take it out of the handle because based on the curve, when they grab a stone.
Oh, your stone would hit the handle.
Correct.
Because the plunge is set back almost into the handle.
Correct. Yeah. So like if I had a normal size stone, there's no way I can get it back in there. Even with a 1/2 inch stone, it would be tough to get back in there. So I would take it out of the handle just to be, that way I'm not risking bumping into it at all.
And what kind of knife is that? I've never seen one like that.
That's an Emerson Elvia.
Oh, okay.
So, but a chisel, all you're doing is sharpening the one side, flipping the burr from the other side. The key is you don't want to lower the angle. You want to keep it at the same angle, or just a slight bit higher. So all you're doing is catching the burr and flipping it. That way you're not making any marks on the backside.
Is that one angled like the A100 is, where you've got like a Scandi type, or is it flat on the back? Because mine have all been flat on the back, my fixed blades.
This has it's like a secondary, well, I shouldn't say secondary, it's a primary bevel going down, but then it should stop. But they went ahead and then they added a secondary bevel, whoever sharpened this.
Right.
So,
but that would have made it a little trickier to flip the knife and roll that burr without getting into any material, because you're not actually at 0 degrees.
No, because you don't want to be at 0 degrees. If you go at 0 degrees, you have a risk of, that's when you actually take material off.
Right, because of that. That's what I'm saying. But if it was a flat knife, right, like if it was like this fixed blade that the back's totally flat, you
still want to be at an angle because
you're just rolling the. I got you, because you're just wanting to have enough angle to roll that burr.
I want it to be steep enough so when I'm deburring this, if I'm flat, I have a chance of running that stone across and hitting the back part. If I'm on an angle, the same angle or even slightly higher, I'm only going to hit the apex. So then it flips that burr, and I have no chance of hitting the backside.
And you're doing it very lightly, maybe 1 or 2 passes.
Yeah, just enough to get the burr to flip. That's all I'm doing. I'm not trying to sharpen and everything. It's just getting that burr flipped. Because if you wait till the very last, it becomes just an absolute nightmare to do. So I'd rather do it each time, get it off there, and have less work to do it. So the other thing too is with chisel grinds, since technically you're only sharpening one side, whatever angle you think you want to be at, this is where the Sharpie trick comes into play, because you want to be considerably higher, because you're only taking material off of one side. So that bevel becomes much bigger, faster.
Right, because you're not splitting it in half.
Correct.
So like a 20-degree side might be closer to 35.
Yeah, or maybe not quite that much, but yeah. So like, for instance, on your A100, the reason why that bevel is so big is because prior to, there were different angles applied. So I had to match the lowest one to be able to bring that fully flat across there.
That was my work.
No, I mean, it happens. But so, I mean, because people don't realize on that you can get big quick. So yeah, you can definitely get those bevels big quick. It just depends on depends on the grind, depends on the angle that they started with. I mean, the thickness behind the blade. I mean, there's all kinds of things. So that being said, chisel grinds are not difficult. You just have to remember, you're not sharpening the backside. You're just taking the burr off.
And in all truth, like if you're out in the wilderness, chisel grind would be easier to maintain, probably, right? To keep a cutting edge on the work.
I wouldn't think it'd be any different. I mean, when you're maintaining, you're not trying to go crazy sharpening. You're just trying to hone it back. So you're not doing anything uber difficult. So I think chisel grinds, people make them out to be like they're this unicorn or something that's hard.
Nightly,
just a regular old grind. You just have to attack it a little bit different.
Yeah, Lee's going to send me a knife that I'm going to sharpen for him, a little fixed blade. And the only thing and I don't struggle with it, I've gotten a lot better at it, is getting the very tip, because I think I'm too careful.
Yeah. Once you get comfortable with knowing how far you can go, and then also keeping your finger here and trusting that if I run that stone over my finger, it's not going to fall off that tip.
Right, because you're not putting, again, pressure on it, really. And I guess it's a heel too. That it always seems to burr in the center, and then I attempt to want to flip it and go back and forth a couple of times. Where, like you say, I need to just stay on that primary side till I get the burr all the way across. Right?
Yeah, because you're just and making sure you're getting that grit pattern all the way across. So it's not even, the burr will come with the grit pattern. Making sure that the grit goes from the top of the bevel to the bottom to the apex all the way across.
Right, but if you're staying consistent with that through the process, you'll more than likely be keeping that grip pattern. You're just taking the time to get the tip and the heel to burr up.
Well, here's the thing. So say you, for instance, thought you knew the angle and you started sharpening. You could get a burr all the way across there and not have an even bevel, because you could be too high. You could be at 25 when it should be at 20, and now you got the top half of that bevel that's never been touched by the stone.
I've done that a few times, I think, too.
So that's why it's always, I say, chase that grit. Make sure that the grit goes from the top of the bevel to the apex all the way across. You won't have to worry, but the burr will come. Because if you have a spot that there's no burr, 99% of the time, it's because it has not reached the apex.
Right, and you're using a loop or something to see that grit pattern. You're not doing that with the naked eye.
Correct. My eyes are not that good for that. So they've definitely fallen off in the last year and a half. So
since you've been looking at stuff so closely?
That and just a lot of computer time. I mean, I spent a lot of years with computers and fine print and shit. So now I'm paying for it. So I got readers to help a little bit, and then I use the loop, and then that usually covers it. So
surprisingly professional, has some knowledge.
I try, Crispy. I try. All right, guys. Any other questions?
I'm sure there's. Oh, hold on. I'm not a Scandi versus the V-grind, but it's easier to sharpen due to a large bevel. I got a question for you, kind of a little weird one. So this little tiny micro Canadian, right? It's got one of those, what do you call it, a convex grind? It's a Bark River.
Yep.
So I wouldn't want to turn this into a flat grind, right? Amsler.
So here's the thing. There's a difference between a convex grind and a convex edge. So like with Bark River, they'll do a convex edge as well. So you can take a convex edge and turn it into a V. It just depends on what you want. The difference behind it, I guess, so to speak, would be, so a convex edge technically will be a little stronger behind the edge because it's more rounded. A V is a little more sharp. So depends on what you're using it for. So like that case, a little small guy like that, you're not going to be doing like crazy hard work. I don't think it needs a convex edge, but that's personal preference. It's totally dependent upon what the end user wants, but
But it'd be easy to just use like the work sharp and hold it to maintain that edge, or how would somebody that's not how would you go about that?
So
like
if you say you're using your work sharp, right? And you just talking about like honing it?
Yeah, just kind of maintaining it to get it.
Okay. So what you would do is, as you find your edge, right? Pull, as you're using the angle, pull the stone towards you while you're pushing your hand this way. Okay. So like that. And what that's going to do, that's naturally, because this is moving and this is moving. So you're going to have two moving parts here, and it's going to be slightly different. It's not going to look like it, but you're going to have slight different angle. It happens naturally, and you're actually going to put a slight convex on there. So you don't have to do anything special. You don't have to try to flip your wrist, turn your wrist, everything. Just keep it here, move both at the same time, and you will get a convex edge on there.
Very interesting. Good to know, because that's something that because you're replicating what a belt does, right?
No, you can sharpen convex on a stone as well too. It's the same principle. I mean, that's all you're doing with that. You're same thing. You're moving the stone back and forth at the same time and creating that it's slightly moving your hand, but you're not trying to do it. Because if you try to do it, it's going to be so over exaggerated. It's going to be difficult to fix.
Amsler knives, by the way. Paul Mills knows about it.
Yep, that's correct, Todd. But for smaller blades or EDC blades, I don't think there's a need for a convex edge.
So check these out, Kyle. This is the first one, and I learned about this from Tri-State, but then I picked them up at Etsy. See this little guy? It's got a clip. So like when I wear a dress shirt, I carry it like a ballpoint pen. But this one's S35. I've also got a Benny and MagnaCut. A little called a Hurricane Razor. It's a little chunk of S35 VN with a titanium clip.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Then he did the Ion and the Mini Ion.
Didn't those start a few years ago on Etsy?
Yep. And that's Amsler Knives, who's in the chat. But check this little guy out. This is called the Ion. It's a little piece of MagnaCut. And it is slicey. I don't know if you can see that bevel.
Yeah.
And it's got a little bit driver if you want to use it, and a little pry bar. This is the standard size, but they're little neck knives. And they're sharp. They're great little scalpels.
Yeah, those are cool looking.
They're very cool. All right. B Shady has a question for Kyle. What
Shoot.
is Van Cron steel like or comparable to?
I don't have a lot of firsthand experience with it, but from my understanding, it's part of that whole Vanadius Vanex type of family. High end vanadium count. I don't want to sit here and BS you. Like, I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with it, but I would expect it to perform similar to those steels. It's going to be slightly different makeup, but from my understanding, it's going to be like if one say comparable, say one is S30, and the other one's S35, and then the other one might be S45. They're going to be all in the same family with slightly different makeups. So,
And B Shady, that's an article I just found from Knife Steel Nerds that talks about Van Cron. And I didn't read the article, the headlines and problem with nitrogen knife steels, which I don't know what that means because I know nothing about knife steels.
yeah, I mean, I don't want to tell you the wrong thing without looking it up, but I'm 90% sure that that's all in the same general vicinity.
Looks
So,
like there's a Van Cron and a Van Cron 40 that they tested.
yeah, there's depending upon where you get stuff from. So, like everyone thinks like in the last couple of years that people are like S60 is so cool, whatever. S60 and S90 have been around for years under different names. They've been around since the 80s. They were under the 440 VN or 440, something like that. So, I mean, a lot of these steels get rebranded, and depends who's making it. It may change the name from one company to the next. So,
Which we may see a lot of that with crucibles changing around, or do you think not, that they'd probably keep that?
it depends. I mean, it depends if they have. There's a lot of factors that I don't want to
Right.
misspeak, but there could be. It could go both ways on that, basically.
I wish I could zoom. I don't know if it's zooming for y'all. It is. So that shows Van Cron. Looks like it's pretty comparable to Vanadis 8 and I don't know what I'm looking at with these charts.
Yeah, like I said, it's the same family, but it's just a different subset.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. I need to learn about that though, and I don't know the best way to do it. 420V equals S60, 440V equals S90V, says Paul Mills. Edgy American just ordered a S90V today.
Hey, Shane.
Good to see you, Shane. We were talking about you earlier. I don't know if your ears were burning, and then I went to your Instagram and I didn't see any evidence. So we quit talking about you. Craig Vincent says, Kyle, most of my sharpening has been on belts, but I'm trying to learn freehand. I can get blades sharp, but I can't get them to look good. I use DMT plates and leather strops. What's my problem?
Okay. So I guess define look good. So there's a couple things. If you're wanting them to be not have waves in them, then that's part of your first stone and blending. If it is you're talking about finish, wanting them to be brighter, that is just a progress of going through different stones. And if they're uneven, then that could be just holding your angle. So give me a little more info on that, Craig, and I can dig deeper on that for you to tell you exactly what to look for.
All right. And then Geek Machinist has a question. How consistent are knife super steels from batch to batch or from manufacturer to manufacturer?
So the steel itself is going to be very, very tight tolerances. How it's done from the manufacturer is completely different. That depends on their processes.
So you're saying the batch could
The
be
batch of steel.
identical, but the heat treat could be night and day.
So like when they send out a batch of steel, it comes out with a batch number, a lot number, and they know exactly what's going on with all the steel in that specific chunk. So they're consistent across the board, but it's a matter of how it's treated by the manufacturer. So yeah, not all heat treats are equal and not all processes are equal, but the steel itself coming into that company should be equal unless it's overseas.
Did you see that quote?
What?
Where Shane ordered some S90V and El Cap Addict threw that in there. And then he threw that in there. Which I bet made Shane go.
I didn't know you were doing that. Let me know what I owe you.
Yeah. All right. So Angry Tom has minor scratches on a couple of his case side busters. How can I get those scratches out? Blitz, maybe?
Depends how deep they are. If they're just surface level, potentially. If not, you'd have to actually sand them all the way down and refinish them. I saw another question there somewhere. 5-door.
Okay, let me go back. The answer or the question?
No, the question.
Can you elaborate on the wavy situation? I get that sometimes. I think he was talking about what you were referring to
so
earlier.
on a bevel. So a bevel, you want it to be, let me get out my horrible drawing skills. Hang on one second.
And Craig Vincent says for him, it's that wave thing. I think the same thing you're talking about.
Okay, cool.
And one thing I use to answer while you do that, about the scratches, I use splits if I can get them out. But there's also a product called Wicked Clean that's made by Depreche Forge, which is very similar to splits, but to me it seems a little thicker.
Okay.
And for lighter steels, I've been able to get surface scratches out with either of those. Sorry, Carl, go ahead.
No, sorry. So forgive my shitty drawing, but so here's your bevel, right? You're trying to get that bevel to be flat from top to bottom and all the way across. So say I'm working the sharpening this direction, right? All the way across, but then I work here too much. Then I work here too much, and I don't hit here, and I don't hit here. What happens is as you go up in grits, you're going to leave spots that are different colorations. So that's why it looks wavy, because it's not completely dead flat all the way across there. So that's why if we work one spot for a little bit, we have to make sure we go back and blend all the way across in full strokes. If you don't blend, you're going to get those high and low spots, and that'll give you that wavy look to it.
See, and now that you've explained it like that, that's my problem. I'll get a little high or low spot. So when you say blend, I get it to where I feel like, I mean, how many passes, and I know it varies, but are you saying to do heel to tip maybe 5 or 6 times to make sure you're just...
No, you need to do heel, you need to do full passes more than you do, at least double more than what you're doing working in one small area.
Okay, so once you get it to where you think you need to be, you need to really just focus on your light, steady, horizontal full passes.
What I do is I start off with full passes. I check, see what my trouble areas are. I'll work those just a little bit, do full passes, go back, check them. And if I need to work the small areas again, I do it, and then full blend back and forth until I get to the point where I have all my issues sorted out from heel to tip, and I've blended back and forth. So that way it's completely flat across there. Sorry.
No, that was my fault. He asked, and I was up here because I was getting ready to highlight a question for next.
Shut up, Dawson.
I thought that was funny.
I know. I'm a horrible. I actually had to put a knife down and trace around to make it look like this good. I'm horrible with the pen. So the principle is work small patches once you've got a flat across there, then blend, check the small areas, blend, and more blending, and you'll get rid of those high and low spots, and you'll get a more consistent looking sheen across the entire blade.
So as Craig says, ideally full length strokes is a remedy if you can get into that.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, Edgy. I think what I saw on Steve's Instagram was pretty interesting. I think if anybody can help show the difference in what that steel can do, it would be him. Did you see any of that, Kyle? About Steve's testing on the D2 or the CPM D2?
Yeah, Steve's got some cool shit he's been working with. So that's not the only one, but yeah. So for the guys asking me, so 5-door and Craig, does that make sense? How is that a bad idea?
Well, that's
so that it works, but the issue about using belts is typically any pressure at all is going to convex them. Secondly, you have a much higher risk of burning the edge, and it's not going to be nearly as good as a stone. It's doable. People do it all the time.
For kitchen knives, right? Isn't that kind of what they're set up for?
Yes and no. I mean, to me, no, because a kitchen knife is thin enough; it should be able to be done on a stone right away. The fact that people do them on belts is just because they want to get them done quick and you knock out the door. That's why you'll see like mobile sharpeners have a 1x30 in a van going around sharpening kitchen knives for people, and they're charging $5 to $8, and it's just a quick burnt edge. It's nothing that it's not nearly as solid as a stone. You're not going to create the same bevel as far as getting a flat bevel across there. I mean, it's inferior to me, but hey, whatever.
See, I almost bought one early on because it seemed like it was, and you can tell me if this is just marketing, but it was set up that it ran at a slower RPM where it hopefully wouldn't burn your edges. I guess that's you putting pressure on it though, but that you just kind of set it and then did it. And it just seemed, again, I never bought one because they were a little out of my price range at first, which they weren't, but I just wasn't willing to. But I always wondered about that. And then when Jared started talking about how he priced them out differently, I could tell that was his least priced option to have it sharpened, which made me think it was probably the easiest or least intensive.
Least time consuming. Yeah, it's least time consuming. It's quick and it's the least performance. So yeah, you should not rely solely on a belt to do it. I mean, to me, a belt's done for heavy machinery, work tools, axes, that type of thing.
Take care, Dylan. Good seeing you, buddy. You see Stevie's comment, or are you just ignoring it to preserve your?
No, I don't prescribe to that, sir, Mr. Said.
And Craig was kind of kidding.
No, that's fine. I just will explain the difference because I know that's a common question.
It was a question I had when I got into to me, it seemed like the easiest way for someone who didn't have skills, the way that it's presented. Well, and again, I saw it on Blade HQ and stuff like that, which was, they were just trying to sell me, which it was an easy way to kind of do it.
So here's the thing, like locally, if I were to go into most places and be like, hey, this is what I do, blah, 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 and they don't know anything about it, they're going to go, why don't I go up to Ace Hardware? They'll put it on their grinder, charge me $3 or $5. Why would I pay you the difference? They don't know any different, but
right.
I mean, they actually have like, just a hard cutting wheel grinder, and they're just grinding away sparks flying. It's like, oh my God. But
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, it's just the difference of what the knowledge of what something actually will give you.
Remember, I've told you about the little knife shop I've got here where the guy's a sharpener and he buys estate knives. Well, he does a lot of hand sharpening, but he's also got this thing, and I think it's an antique. I know it's an antique, but it looks like a wheel, like maybe a white wheel. I don't know if it's ceramic, but it's on a pedal.
Yeah.
And he sharpens knives on that. So the wheel's rolling kind of towards him, and maybe it's not on a pedal. But it's not
probably a Tormek. Does it have a water tray underneath the
I think it does. Hold on.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
Tormek.
Tormek? Or
Yes, sir. MEK.
Wheel. Oh, here we go. No, it looks much more old than that. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. It actually looks like something that might have where you have to pump it with your foot to make the fucking thing spin.
Okay. Well, same
I've
principle.
seen him use it. I've seen him use it.
It's a dressing wheel that you're using with obviously a spinning motor, and they use the water for cooling, just as it's like a whetstone, but it's on a motor, so it becomes it's closer to a hand sharpened edge than it would be anything like with a belt. So they do a pretty good job. I don't think they're the best, but I don't think that anything's wrong with them. There's just not a lot of options as far as, unless you want to spend crazy money to get a ton of different wheels.
I think it's more nostalgic, and I was trying to see if there was a picture here of his little sharpening area, but I don't think there is. But what's weird about this guy is he was one of the first Benchmade dealers in the state, so he's actually he gets in a lot of used Benchmades that are not really used. Let's see if I could find his. If this is going to make me sign into Facebook, I ain't doing it. I've basically banished myself from Facebook. I was just saying. Go ahead.
These companies that make abrasives, right? A lot of them make abrasives for other industries, and knives are just like a subset, right? A lot of them make the large wheels like you see like on the Tormek or that machine, and they use them for dressing, or they're using for cutting tools in their machine shops. So that's how they've taken that design and transformed it into knife sharpening. You can get those wheels in different materials, but the wheels are expensive because they're a large chunk of abrasive, right?
Right.
So, and it's not the easiest to change them in and out just like you would everything else. But the quality of that is much better than the quality of a belt. So I give them that, but your options are a little bit more limited.
I don't think I'm going to see it on here. Maybe it's in this picture. See it right there? Hold on, let me see if you can. All right. I'm going to see if I can blow this up. So this wheel, like this is John, the dude with the gut.
Okay.
If you look right off of his gut, about 5 feet, you'll see a white.
Yeah.
And that's it. But I think it's on a little, and he's got all these plates for regrinds and stuff, but he's got his regular stones and stuff. But
yeah, I mean, it could be foot powered, as far as pedal powered, or it could be all different things, the old fashioned style.
But he's got an interesting, and I've been planning to do a video down there, and I have it just to kind of show the type of stuff he does. What's up, Andrew? My brother from North Carolina. Good to see you, dude. Long time no see. Andrew's been a hero to me as I've been fighting the unemployment train. Good to see you, buddy. I hope things are well. Fig Diesel. Buddy, I'm doing the same. I spend time on here, make knife videos, and hang out with these guys like Kyle Coonley, Sharpening System, and all these cool people in the chat. Craig says he also uses DMT aligner stones with a Gatco angle guide and base. He said it works pretty good, but he still wants to learn freehand.
Well, so Craig, so what you should use with that is, I mean, basically take the muscle memory of that when you set an angle and look at your wrist and see what the angle is. And that gives you an idea of how to use it on without those are great training wheels, basically. So if you can take that and then move it into without that on just a plain stone, you'll be cool. So it's a matter of fine.
Thanks, Geek Machinist. Sorry about that, dude. Go ahead, Kyle.
No, so I'm just saying, once you get that angle set on using one of those training aids, and you get the angle, you know where it's at. Look at your wrist, see how that's set up, hold that angle, and then do your sharpening back and forth.
And Geek Machinist, I do members only live streams Saturday morning at 11. They're short, but they're worth stopping by. So if you get a chance, dude, pop in tomorrow. Love to see you. I think Medford's D2, I'd always heard it was really good. What is it, the 187 that was made out of CPM D2?
Yeah, they have good D2.
Shane says it's the most expensive steel he's priced so far from, I guess, the suppliers he
CPM D2. Yeah, CPM D2 is very expensive. It's expensive. It's not the most expensive, but it's expensive for what it is. If you take something like what Steve's going to do, that puts it into a different ballpark. But if you take CPM D2 and use it for what most people do, it's way overpriced, in my opinion. Just because it's used by a lot of different industries.
Is that why you think the price is driven up, because the demand's higher for it in other industries?
Yeah.
Okay. So regular D2 would be ingot D2. Is that the difference? Is it's not powder metallurgy? If I said that right?
Yeah. At least from my understanding, the CPM would be the powder metallurgy version of standard D2.
Which gives you tighter carbides, right? Allegedly, or truthfully? I mean, it makes the steel more...
It's a finer construction. Supposedly more consistent all the way throughout. They react differently though. Like from like the end user standpoint, CPM D2 definitely reacts differently sharpening than regular D2. CPM will slick out much faster than D2 will. So you have to be careful with not taking up. You don't want to take it up probably much past 400 grit.
Is that because your carbides are so much larger?
There could be a lot of different factors in there. I mean, because like you think about like vanadium, there are a lot of large chunks of vanadium. Those carbides are large, and they don't slick out like that. So I think there's more to it than just that.
Yeah, D2 I think is used for, I'm sure that's true, because it's used for making dies in machine shops and stuff.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the bits we used in our router tables were some kind of D2. And that weird, this is just my weird brain jumping around, but that stuff that Artisan Cutlery uses that they allegedly thought was a powder form, but it turned out to be powder sprayed on an ingot. Is that the story?
Yeah, your RPM9 stuff.
Yeah,
I never liked it personally, at least from using it. Like I couldn't stand it for a steel that they would put in comparison with Nitro V and 14C. It was nowhere near as good. I mean, light years behind it, and the fact that it was proprietary and that they were hiding all behind it, I never liked it personally. But I'm glad to see that they dug a little deeper into it, what it is.
Craig, that's the same thing with me. I've kind of learned from my little work sharp and I say learn, but I can kind of feel where the angle is. Now, I wouldn't want to reprofile on one. And Geek Machinist says the reason he asked the question about the super steel consistency earlier was because variations in steel, even within a large bash, is a way of life sometimes. So
yeah, I'm not saying that there's not any variation at all, but their tolerances are tight enough that we'll never tell the difference between it.
And they have to be, right? There's certain tolerances that it has to fall within before it can be.
I don't know their guidelines as far as what they promise, but their tolerances are going to be much finer than what we'll ever notice. The issue that we're going to see is how it's handled from after the manufacturer receives it, not so much how they receive it. Is it possible to get a bad batch? Yeah, I'm sure it is, but I think that's very few and far between, and that would be isolated to, lots that they could track and recall. But I don't see that happening nearly as often as what we would probably see in other industries, just because it's not something that is not handled from the manufacturer standpoint. If that makes sense.
Kyle, would you know anything about this? My buddy Andrew says we have a lot of stainless steel probes and sensors in industrial applications, and they are mostly disposable because they interact with water. Can stainless be recycled?
I would think it can be recycled. It depends. I mean,
but you wouldn't know what kind of stainless it was, would you?
Yeah, I mean that makes the hard part. You can just be making a hodgepodge. That turns into, and also there's way different. We have the quote unquote the old stainless steels that were just labeled with, like the old, what were those old like the little scalpel things that were just labeled stainless steel, like it could
right.
be pop metal for all you know, not being sharpened, etc. So there's a lot of different questions in that, and then also, I guess, what all is it touching to? I mean, to be whether or not it could be recycled, if there's chemicals involved, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I can't. There's too many variables there. I can't answer that, but I would think, to some extent, probably.
Would you, if you had like an old S90V blade, could you, if you smelted it down, would it still retain its properties? Could you heat treat it again? I mean, could you start with the blade and then it remain the same metal if you take it to goo and then pound it back to?
I'm no expert on that, so I don't want to.
That's just a dumb John question. Just wondering.
No, I mean, I've heard both sides, so I don't want to, because I don't have any firsthand knowledge of that, so I don't want to.
No worries.
Give out any false information on that, but I've heard both. So,
how thin is it, Edgy?
What's that?
He just said the S90V that he can find now is too thin for anything other than a kitchen knife.
Yeah, it's under. It's like 0.9, 0.91, something like that is what they've got available currently.
Jeffrey says Magpul is releasing their own proprietary steel and a knife at SHOT Show.
Yeah, he sent me that. It looks cool. I'm interested to see.
And then Craig says, how's Spyderco's MagnaCut? He has a pair of 3 on the way. I would think Spyderco's anything.
It's around 62, I think, from the last I had heard.
Because don't they do a lot of testing with their mules and stuff before they ever put?
Yeah, they do a lot of their the mules are their development, so they use that to see what they can get out of steels before they put it into other main ones. Unless they have, like with what they do with Sean in the 15V, they already had the protocol down, so they didn't have to take it to mule first.
I'm looking on Magpul's site. I'm an idiot. I'm gonna get out of there. Survive gets nothing but bad batches.
Do what?
He's just a joke. That's El Cap. Remember?
Nice. I didn't see that. Yeah.
Now, I think there was a lot of, because I'd heard other people talk about it, that there was a lot of confusion maybe when MagnaCut first came out, with people not
feeling comfortable using it. They should have been if they follow the protocols. But
well, don't you remember people like not wanting to work with it as much? They didn't like. So I can remember some of the bigger makers that are just starting to use it, and I guess it's what they were comfortable with. Is maybe I don't know.
it's probably what they had available, how much steel they had available currently that they don't want to scrap.
Right.
I mean, when you buy bulk. I mean, say you got and your knives aren't moving. It's hard to sit there and say we're just going to scrap all this and move to a whole new steel. What do I do with all these sheets that I've got back here ready to go?
Right. 5-door is throwing Shane a CPM 154 at 61. Is that a proper?
I mean, it's decent at 61. It can be better. But
Good to see you, Humphrey. You just relax, buddy. Hopefully we won't do anything to keep you up. Those makers didn't want to change their current process, which makes sense for a lot of reasons. Especially if you've got steel stacked up in the back, like we used to have wood stacked up, you wouldn't want to buy a new shipment of wood until you used what you had.
Yeah, it's stock for some of it, and it's also, some of these guys are thuds. They don't want to change their ways, because they don't want to hype or hop on the hype or the new bandwagon and get stuck in something.
Did you say hype? That's what I call hype. Sorry about that, dude.
It's all right.
It's for a slip joint. The CPM 154 at 61.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
Shane's running at 64, but it gets kind of fragile that hard.
Yeah, his 64 CPM 154 is an absolute bitch to work on.
Dude, I don't think mine to cut at 62. See, that wouldn't bother me because I've got one at 61 that I guess I haven't cut a ton with because a Herman Sting, that knife is beautiful, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't think I'd be cutting with that knife because I did a review on that knife. He was nice enough to send it to me where if it was 2 points better, it would make the knife, in my mind, me want to go use it that much harder because it's just so good at what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
as
much as we want to bang on about dead on, what is it? And here's the thing, people too don't realize it's not a incremental; it's an exponential chart. So it's not just 1 point is not just like one step. I mean, it's exponentially getting better and better as you go into that. Now, 62 to 64. Yeah, you'll see an increase. You also see a decrease in corrosion and toughness, but it's not drastic with MagnaCut until you hit 65. 99% of the population is fine with it at 62. Is it better at 63, 64? Yes, but to completely now, there's no reason to run it at 60. I mean, I think that's asinine, but it depends on what someone's willing to put in. That just means they're not willing to do the work.
And you say, I'm going to say it wrong, but you said exponentially when those points go up, not just something. So each point is a lot more than just a point, is what you're saying in terms of performance.
It's a gradual, it's not a gradual scale. So it's not just like, okay, you've got 62 degrees and you got 63 degrees. It's going up at a higher rate. So each increase is much larger than just one step. Correct.
So in layman's terms, 62 is not really just 1 point higher than 61, which would be 1 point higher than 60. They're going up more.
It's how they measure it, but it's that jump from 62 to 63 is larger than it is at between 1 and 2.
Todd, I think you're probably right, but I know, and I don't know why, but I know fixed blades in a lot of things are run lower in terms of because they're not designed as much to be edge retention. They're designed to be tougher. And I'm speaking out of my ass, but I've heard that. But I don't know why you would run MagnaCut that low. By the way, we are going to have a little just random giveaway later for this little knife.
Okay, where do you get that, buddy?
Where do you get what? Let me. Whoop! I hit the wrong button. Again, my S30 has performed fine, but I'm not putting it through it. Hey, level on up. I'm not putting it through the test like you guys are. And I know there's differences, but I'm curious too about I think MagnaCut maybe has gotten a bad rap because of people doing it differently. I don't know. I've enjoyed mine. Maybe just because it says MagnaCut on it. I don't know.
Okay, so
look at the Catra test or
let me get into this. So that's one of the issues I have with his testing in his site. It's not a level playing field. Okay. He doesn't do everything at optimal treats. He does everything roughly around 60, and he doesn't do the same geometry for every single blade. So it's comparing apples to oranges. If you look at like a more of a real world test where, okay, for instance, I'm not saying it's everything, but it's actually in hand proof. Cedric and Aja, he did a bunch of the Mule series. So you're having the same geometry. You're having reasonably, I would say, optimal heat treats with all the Mule series and how they react, and it's completely different. I appreciate Laren for what he does, but I think a lot of his testing for us, what we're taking it as science, is flawed because it's not giving an adequate expectation of some of these. And now there's nothing wrong with S30. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, in real world, it should never even compete with it. And MagnaCut is not designed to be an edge retention monster. That's never what it was designed to be.
It was designed for its balance, right?
Correct. It's an all-around good steel, same as S45. But I don't want to. I'm not trying to disregard what people think or what they like, but reading a chart does not always equate to how they react, and it's not equating to the chart's history. If he were to make everything exactly the same as far as blade stock, optimal heat treats, and then did his Catra test, I'd have zero issues with any of that. But it's not. I mean, you can't put. I don't know. To me, it's like putting diesel in a Ferrari and trying to race it with 110 octane in a Yugo. You're not having the best for that performance to see how it reacts.
Not getting the most out of what it was designed for.
Yeah, it just everything he does is great, and he has great breakdowns of stuff, and I like his takes on a lot of things. He's a metallurgist. He's smarter than me. I'm never going to say anything different, but I just wish his tests were a little more
controlled.
Yeah, and less variables.
And Edgy just threw in there that MagnaCut is groundbreaking because no high corrosion resistant steel has ever matched its edge retention.
That's true.
Maybe true. Just MagnaCut maybe was a miss on the name though. With that name, you'd think it'd be comparable to Rex 121 on edge retention.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the specifics on the naming process, so I won't speculate, but it's a great all-around steel. I would say it's like everything. It gets hyped, it gets put out there, people love it, and then they hate it because they move on to the next one, right? Is it going to cut as
Or
much
do
as
they hate it because they see a review or hear something, or do you think they had a personal experience? I wonder.
No, it's because it's 99% of the times because they hear it or they had one bad experience on something bad and went from there. But people try to compare it to S90V. It's not designed to be cutting like S90V. The difference is it's much tougher than S90V. And people don't take into account you can adjust your edge geometry to make things cut differently. That's why I wish all the blanks when they did the catcher test were the same geometry. That would make things much more even on the playing field. If you take a thick S90B and then you take to keep its toughness and you take a thinner magna cut, you'll get much closer cutting results than you would about if you had the same exact geometry. The S90V is going to cut for, obviously. The fact that the tests aren't done that way just makes it harder to compare. So that's just my 2 cents.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, even for me, who can't think like a scientist, who thinks like a layman, that makes perfect sense, right? You have to have, and I've always thought, and I know it's not possible to test multiple knives, but if you're doing production knives, you can't get the end all science off one knife. It's the only way really to do it. But it would make sense that if you're going to be testing stuff against other stuff, they need to be the same geometry. You need to have as many controls in place to keep them the same as possible.
Yeah, I mean, and he knows things far greater than I ever will. I'm looking at it from more of a practical end user standpoint of how it reacts and how he doesn't. I mean, he heat treats and that kind of stuff, but he's not out there doing custom knives. He's not out there, hard using things. He's not even. You don't have to hard use to know it. He's not out there doing a lot of different things to get
really
our feedback. I mean, that's why he
shows.
uses he's collabed with Sean a bunch on stuff because he wants someone to actually know what he's talking about and test things. But that's about as far as I go with that. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I just want people to understand that there's more to those charts than just what meets the eye and seeing a chart and going, hey, that's got to be this. There's way too many variables to be like, that's the end all be all. It's a good starting point, but it's not the exact facts.
It's a starting place. Check some of these Spydercos out that I just saw today on Blade HQ that I'd never seen before. Have you ever seen these? The Azenza or the Slim RIL? Are these new releases? They're pre-orders, but they're horrible. They're
I've never seen those.
That's horrific to me. And I guess it uses a compression lock. So you got that one. You've got this. It looks like a slip joint for almost $262. And then you've got this with dark matter carbon fiber. You don't see that. That must be a Taichung. I bet you that's Taiwan. Italy.
Those had to be brand new because I've never seen those before.
Yeah, me neither. And that's an Italian made one. But the other thing that I saw, they had this little guy, the Micro Yojimbo, coming in this particular one in 15V. Talk to me about 15V. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
I think it's a cool steel. I don't have experience with it, so I can't talk about it as far as how it sharpens up, but the principle of it is pretty awesome. It's a tough, long-lasting edge retention monster.
But just not very corrosion resistant. I don't know why it's not letting me go back.
Not from my understanding, but well, it has some because it's vanadium based, but again, I don't have a ton of experience with it. I know Shane had a little bit of issues with his. He got it sharp, but he just didn't like the way it felt. I think 15V is cool. I don't think it's like. I'm more of a. I want the best performance I can for the best steel I want for what it is. I like more of the middle of the road all around performers than I do specific super steels in one specific area. Do I have something like that? Yeah, but I tend to go more for practical all-arounders.
And the only reason I ask is because I do kind of collect different steels just because I'm a weirdo and I don't have any of that. And I've liked the micro Jimbo, but I've never wanted to buy one in S30. I don't know if I want to buy one because it's going to
do me a favor real quick?
Yep.
Can you put Mersault in timeout for a little bit?
I don't think he won't let me because he's got a wrench. Your wrench is like your shield. I can go on here and I can, let's see.
Yeah, 15V is not like high corrosion as far as like, your magnet cuts and like that. It's got some corrosion resistance, but vanadium has. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Fed.
Is Fed in here?
He must be lurking.
Fed Harrison, what's up, brother? Yeah, if Duty got rust spots on his, that's I try to keep mine. I don't do it enough, but I keep little desiccant packs or whatever in my cases, and then I'll oil down my steels. Not oil them like where they're drippy, but just rub them down.
Yeah, I mean, part of it's just maintenance. I mean, if you don't want it to get rust or patina, then take care of it. If you do or don't care, then don't worry about it. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I've kind of gotten into it because just like the reason I like sharpening knives, I like putting skiffs in, not because they make the knife's action better. I just think they're I like to take knives apart, and B, I think they're better bearings for $12. It doesn't really hurt my feelings. But I like to take them apart and I like to clean them up too and check them for any spots around the pivot, stuff like that.
I think a lot of that
stuff. I like to tinker with them.
I think it's more of a placebo effect, but do they have some effect on certain knives? Yes. Then I've actually had make worse on some knives as well. So it just depends.
Well, yeah, if they're not sized right, you can get some.
No, even the right size ones. Like it depends on the knife and what came stock and how it reacts. But do I think it makes it more stable? Yeah, if you're adding more balls, it's going to make it more stable. But do I think it changes the knife dramatically for $12? In some cases, yes. Some cases, no. So I can
agree with that. I'm not saying it's an every time thing because I've had some that didn't work either.
That's what I'm saying. I think sometimes it's a placebo effect. You just think, hey, we got to put skiffs and everything.
Well, I took my I got a trade with Paul Mills for an Evo Typhoon, and I just took it apart to clean it up. And the stock bearings are, the diameter of the pivot is 1/2 the size of the diameter of the bearing. Now they fit in the bearing channel fine. And Sharp by Design knives, this knife's smooth as it can be. But I was amazed at how much space is between the pivot and the edge of the bearing. You know what I'm talking about? Let me show you. Let me just pull it up real quick. Get to that part.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think in
I wonder why the Relic would do that, because it works great. But like my buddy A to Z, who's, you know what a pain in the ass he is, when he turns his knife sideways, he can hear it rattle. I can't hear it. He tried to show it to me the other day. I could not hear it, but I know that's what it is. It's that bearing popping against that pin. Let me show you. how much bigger it is. Because I've seen bearings that were size weird, but this was probably the weirdest. See if I can find it right here. Yep. Get back to it. All right. Hold on 1 second. Share this with you. That big. Watch how big the slop around the pivot is from this bearing that comes out of here. You'll see it right. I'll try to pause it. What? See how much bigger it is? See that center diameter?
Yeah.
And see that pivot's 3/16. Now it fits the channel, but it is grossly missized. Little pivot, big freaking bearing.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I ordered some just to see, what it does because the action's perfect on it. You would never know. But I was just thinking, what would make a OEM, say this is the way to do it? Because I've only seen bearings that fit pretty tightly against the pivot. You don't want them to be too tight.
Yeah, I don't know. That could be just
It does,
oversight.
Paul, it fits perfect, and there's the action on this knife is perfect. There's nothing at all wrong with it. To me, it was just kind of a weird thing that I've never seen in all the knives I've taken apart. I've seen like where they're sized smaller than the channel, stuff like that, but I've never seen them. I think if the height works out good, and I don't know enough about it. And that's not how it works, Javon. Only thing touching the blades. That's true. That's true. And I know that Whatchamajob puts a bearing inside their blade too, so it's rotating. So I guess it doesn't have to be tight. Again, I have nothing negative to say about the way that this knife performs. I was just surprised that they went for a bigger bearing, and it does make sense that as long as it's staying in that channel and the balls are making contact.
Mr. Harrison, did you receive your package from me? It says it was delivered. Sorry, that's all I wanted to ask. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to make sure he got it.
That's true. And I do agree that Lefty got me on the whole skiff thing, but the more I've messed with them, I do notice that you have a lot more ceramic making contact. And I know what Kyle's saying, that can also put more drag on the blade and change the action that way.
I don't do it for I've got probably 5 or 6 that I've done that. I don't think that, or I should say, I don't do it for increasing the action. I do it for stability.
Yep.
That way, if I've got blade play.
Yeah, I've gotten all over the drop shut thing. I've cut my thumb too many times on my Padre or my Evo to realize that it's just not worth it. I don't need a knife to drop that fast. I really like the way a Chris Reeves drops. I like that hydraulic kind of control drop.
Absolutely. Hydraulic over drop shot all day.
Yeah, but when I was earlier in it, I was thinking drop shot. I used to think the Kaiser Land, which was that knife. I had the Tonto, but they also made a drop point. And that's when I learned that they did that little weird thing with their bearings to make those little channels in them where that thing would just drop shut.
Yeah. And that very well could be, Shane, as far as because once you
I agree with that. It probably is. But I know, like Donnie was saying, he doesn't even use lubrication in his knives. And I probably shouldn't use as much as I do, but I get this placebo effect of taking a knife apart, cleaning the grunge out, freshly lubing it, which I always over lube it. And, feel like I've done something, even though I've just really taken 30 minutes of my day. But hey, that's 30 minutes. I don't have to just live in my head.
especially like on washers. I mean, if you're using phosphor bronze, I mean, technically they're self-lubricating, but
Have you ever seen the thick washers that Scott or Steve Skiff offers?
yeah.
I've got some in my I had some in my McNeese, but I've still got it in. Of all knives I wanted to try it in, my baby Banner is running on thick washers. And it makes just for, it doesn't drop, but it's just super stable. It's super snappy.
But see, that's where it gets to me. It's like putting $12 washers in a $50 knife.
Well, and I totally hear what you're saying. The washers are only $8, but it's still the same problem. I know what you're saying, but washers are about half as much as the bearings.
Same principle. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I did it for science and I did it for a video.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I don't see a need in a lot of cases.
No, and I would not recommend anybody upgrade their baby Banter with any extra bearings. But
perfect case for the thick washers is that Evo. Because that Evo 3 was insane. It was way too drop.
Sorry, dude, go ahead.
No, sorry. The Evo 3 is way too drop shut from factory.
Oh yeah, so, no doubt.
I mean that's a big, heavy, dangerous blade that'll chop your thumb off if you're not careful. Or crack a fingernail in half.
I put skiffs and I've tightened it down as much as it'll go. The reason I put skiffs in it is it was double road, and these were like I thought the bearings were too fast. I thought it would slow it down, but I think the blade's just too heavy.
Yeah, man. When I had mine, I would just shut it sideways because dropping it straight down was just like a no. Like
yeah. I still remember when Lefty drove his through his. No, was that his Chavez? Which one did he chop through his fingernail? And then he had that thumbnail that looked horrible for like
his Evo.
3 months. What's up, Dragoon?
That was his Evo. Well, that's part of it is making people think it's cool to sit there and just drop things on your nail.
Hey, Paul Mills has got an extra 3V blade for a 20.5. If anybody's looking for one, they're wanting to upgrade their blade. That's how I got Paul. Funny story. I've got like 4 20.5s, 2 sheep's foot or shark's foot, and 2 drop points, all in different blade steels. But I didn't have any 3Vs, and I knew this is when Brian was really cranking out his 20.5 reblades, and I reached out to him, and he hooked me up with a great deal on a stock 3V blade because he had several there that he'd replaced. MLK Ranger, what is up, brother? Oh, I know, dude. And then he tried to put, what did he put on it? Like baking soda and nail polish where it looked like it was just a pustule.
Yeah.
Is he not doing his lives anymore on Thursday nights? Last night, I noticed that the honey bucket didn't happen. And that's when I bumped into Brant and Maddie and Fred the Lug and Mad Yako.
Where at?
They were doing a live. Brant was doing a live, and it just happened to be it just happened to be several people. It was late. It wasn't, I wasn't expecting to see it, but I was looking for the honey bucket. I don't know if Steve's traveling. He was in tonight. Let's see. I'm looking for Said Faction. Is Said Faction on tonight?
Yep.
11:40, right? I don't see. Is it on Stevie's page?
They're in 45 minutes.
Yeah. Stevie's page. Yeah. It says Stevie live videos. All right. I'm sure it's on here. I got you. Exhala. My favorite Kaiser of all time was probably the T1. I really like that knife. I had back when I started collecting, I would collect a lot of the Vanguard, which were the G10 ones. And then I collected a lot of the titanium ones. And the T1 titanium was probably the snappiest. The only thing that I didn't like about it was the clip was a little tight. But I've still got a Kaiser Critical, the original Critical that's titanium. That's a beast of a knife. But this knife is one of my favorite fixed blades. And this is the Mini Harpoon in 3V.
Yeah, those
And
are cool.
I'm sure it's not the greatest 3V, but I'm a Maverick Customs fan, and this is just a slicey, great little knife. Picked it up on Amazon.
They made the full size Harpoon in 10V for a special edition.
And that's how I found out about the knife. One was donated to the channel in D2, and it's just such a good knife. But the Mini Harpoon carries great, light. And again, I don't know about the different blade steels as much, but like the Paragon, or I like the fact that they work with a lot of designers too. I know Maddie's got another knife coming out pretty soon. He was talking about it last night, that he's waiting for protos, I think. And he made it sound like they're very easy to work with. And I saw something, I don't know what it was because I didn't watch the video, but that they're doing a Lush version 2 from Devo, and they're having Riot OEM it, which I thought was odd because I didn't think they liked Riot.
Well, Riot's cheaper than Best Tech, so.
And I know that they said they were done.
And they did concept before. They did concept with the Lush originally.
See, I've got the original Lush, and I love it. I think they did a good job on it. Mersal, the AWT aluminum's great. I love the powder feature, the powder finish. I didn't get the ribs. I just got the base Sniper Gray on my Mini Adamus or Damas or Adamus.
Dawson, you got the new one? That looked awesome. How was it?
Ooh, let me pull that up. Nichols Guppy.
It's on USA Made Blade. They dropped this week.
USA Made Blade. Isn't it amazing how much stuff is staying in stock for a little while? I mean, there's a Project X you can go buy right now at River's Edge Cutlery.
It's just economy right now.
Yeah. Ooh. $4.95. See, that's another maker that I was not familiar with, and that's a gorgeous knife.
Yeah, it looks cool. I like the design a lot of that one.
I've heard good things about some of these new ZTs, but I don't know. I've never been a ZT fan. Look at all the hinders. Man, I hope none of these big companies suffer permanently from this slowdown.
Well, I mean, frankly, we have a flooded market right now anyways, so it wouldn't hurt. It would actually make value of things go up a little bit if we
Howdy, Kathleen.
Lost one or two.
Yeah, well, you don't want to lose anybody. I think it's good if, you know, they readjust.
It depends on who it is.
You're true.
There's so many spinoffs of all this junk coming out. We don't need that. The market's flooded.
Yeah, I was thinking more about domestic producers. You know, I remember seeing Greg talking about ASK and how there wasn't a lot of demand for it, so they weren't really focusing on it. Yeah, Edgy, that's the one I'd heard about, and I forget where I heard about it. It was probably a headline on a freaking video I didn't watch. Maybe they'll make it in the manual, but I would think you would like an auto, buddy. I would think that would suit you if the style of the knife was good. It'd be good for your hands.
Hey, Kathleen.
Good to see you, Kathleen. Good to see you, Fed. Always. I hope you're doing well, buddy. I hadn't talked to you in a while. I need to give you a call. See how you're doing. My dad is just, he's now getting where he's jacking up his automatic pill dispenser. Where I called him tonight to remind him to take his 4 pills. And he's like, well, I got 9 on my coffee table. I was like, Dad, what the fuck you got 9 pills sitting there for? I took them out this morning and did what with them? Well, they're in here on the coffee table. Okay, we got a problem. So I've got to call his lady who comes by and spends a couple hours with him and say, listen, why the fuck have you not been making sure he's taking his medicine?
Yeah, there's that. And then also,
that's true, Edgy. That's something I was going to talk about tonight. Hey, I love the oligarch, but that's not what I was going to talk about. What do y'all think about the S&G and the PT not going to be part of the Protect family anymore? Was that Strider being a prick, saying they didn't want to license it? Because when I read the Instagram post, it didn't sound like Protect was all excited.
It sounded like, personally, it sounded like the contract was, their renewal was up and they just didn't
choose to renew it.
Which could be a multitude of things. It could be they didn't think they were making that much money off of it. It wasn't worth it. Maybe they wanted to try to make production themselves, potentially. I mean,
if it didn't make dollars, it didn't make sense.
There's a lot of different things that could be that. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily take it as, and well, I mean, hell, it could be that they were
0 bytes
assholes too. Who knows? I mean, but I
wouldn't think so. And I know that Greg has mentioned in his videos that the reason they don't make, when Lefty had his baby, right before that, he was getting really busy. Hopefully we'll come back and do that. I used to enjoy that. But Strider, Greg was saying that either the wife or somebody had a problem with him and pulled, what was it, the 45 that Medford was making for Strider? The AR? I forget what it's called. But Greg was saying, yeah, that's the only reason they'd love to make it for him again. True. And I love my original Strider, but I don't think I would have ever, I would have never purchased this knife if I had not first traded for this knife to make sure I liked it. And I would have never gone for this knife, believe it or not, if I had not bought an EF 225 just to see if I liked the design. I'm that weird guy who started with a $69 version, not to push it off as something different, but just to see if I liked it, and liked it so much I started buying the Protex and then the original, and I gave the other one away. But I've always been known as a clone hoarder.
Yeah, we don't need those.
I'm joking. I know. But that's something else they were talking about last night that was interesting. Paul, let's talk, dude. Last night they were talking about Miguron. You probably know this, Kyle, but Miguron, as did most Chinese knife companies, started out making clones to learn how to do it right, to learn how to get knives to work right. And they went through a process. And as horrible as it is, or it sounds, yes, they don't have the same copyright laws or intellectual property laws, but they also have cultural differences where they don't look at it like we do. They look at it as improving on things.
To me, it has nothing to do with culture. It has to do with dollars and cents. They don't give a shit. They want to make money.
Well, I don't know that. I just know that I was surprised that Miguron, and last night it was Fred, I forget his whole name, was talking about that a company bought their cloning division, but they've gone on, once they learned how to make knives, to just do original stuff. So I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they just make money to make money. To me, I see zero interest in them caring whether or not it's someone's property or not, because it happens in every industry. So
that's true, and you're seeing more and more of the small batch knives showing up, like the Lamias, and some of the others are starting to be knocked off. But see, I don't think anybody. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not saying it's not a horrible thing, but do you think an enthusiast is going to go buy that knife? Maybe I wouldn't. I just don't.
I mean, I think some do, and the thing is, the people
But
that buy that the people that buy that typically are not the ones that are going to buy the original. Are there some? Yes, but majority of them no. So I don't see a need for that, and especially when it's taking money out of someone's pocket.
But and I agree with that. But
It's wrong. You
whose
see it
money is
plenty.
it taking? Right. It's absolutely wrong. I agree with that, the way we view it. But is it taking money out of that true Alex's pocket when we know they'd never reach out there and spend that money for that knife?
Well,
Or
here's
is it putting a design in that person's hands that might get them to save for it? I don't know.
no, because I would say majority of the time those people aren't going to buy the real one. So there's that. But if they had no choice to buy the fake one and they decided that, oh, I really have to have that, then they may save up and buy it. So there's a chance of that, but it's still taking money away that they could be spending it on someone else's.
Original design.
Correct.
Right.
I just
Yeah, and Ron, I think it's absolutely everybody's choice on what they do. And like I said, I bought the F and Grow because I didn't know and still don't know the deal that was made or not made between those two companies to offer that knife. And I didn't buy it to put it off as a Strider. I knew that the SMF would be too big for me. But I really liked the design, a design that I'd never found attractive. It never was on my radar. And when I got that knife in, I was like, dude, there's something to this design. And I did. I saved up for the Protex and then saved up for the original and had Scotch help me find the original.
yeah. The I just don't. That's a soft spot to me because I just don't like the fact that people stealing people's designs. I mean,
Have you seen the guy? Yeah, Scotch would know. And Edgy owned a Strider clone, and it led to him buying a real one.
like I said, there are some people that do that, but overwhelming majority is not like that.
Sailor, that's interesting. I think definitely if the tariff's going to affect, Chinese knives will go up. Do I think that's a bad thing? It's yet to be determined. I don't necessarily.
Why is that a bad thing?
I don't think it is. Hey, Messer.
No, I'm asking. I don't know why that would be a bad thing.
What I'm curious about is what's happening to TikTok.
Who cares?
I'm not on TikTok because I want to see people melt down if they're going to go away. Isn't this weekend when they're supposed to phase it out if a deal doesn't get done?
It should. What's hilarious is the one that they're trying to promote now that they're trying to push everybody over to, Red Note. If you look at the actual true translation of that, stands for little. It's Red Book, Little Red Book, from like Mao.
Dude, I mean, that's bizarre.
You have to be on some of the stuff. Like at
It's
some point,
crazy.
you have to take a moral stance and be like, yeah, I don't want to support genocide. So, no, hey.
Yeah, I never ever on Sunday. Thanks, dude. I wasn't sure because I've seen several of these American companies, and I think Trump was even trying to get a stay on it. There's so much money traded through TikTok Shop, which I don't know anything about because I've never used the app. So I'm just talking about what I've seen. That they're talking about it's responsible for I forget how many billions dollars of revenue for American companies. And there are a lot of people losing their shit, which I would think you would just roll over to Instagram. Granted, I don't think that the followers on TikTok are all real. I think a lot of it's done with bots and stuff.
Well, look at your terms of service. I mean, why would you ever agree to that?
Dude, I saw that. I think it was Joe Rogan that was going through that. I forget where my eyes were open to their terms of service, where it can access any computer that you've ever synced with.
Yeah.
Weird shit like that. I mean, but people use it constantly. And again, we give our data freely. So I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of the stuff that we do is.
Did I lose you, Kyle? Ex-sailor, I would hope not. And I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot to that. I think there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that'll go on because there's dependence on both sides, right? So I don't know how all that works. But TikTok does own Olight. I believe that, Mersal. Where are you, Kyle?
You got me, buddy?
Yeah, I got you now. I was hearing you, and then
Okay.
you were stop.
My headphones are dying. Sorry. I had to
Your
put you on
phone died.
speakerphone. My headphones were dying.
I can hear you. I got you.
All right. My camera back on?
Do you remember where you were? Yep.
Okay.
You
What was the question?
Oh, so you were in the middle of finishing your thought about damn. You were mid sentence on something, but
I don't know. Probably just the fact that we give our data away to everybody, but when you have certain restrictions or certain parameters like they do as far as what they can attack, then yeah,
that's true. It opens us for a lot of vulnerabilities because I think that the people in government allegedly have not been able to use that app for years, right? If you
TikTok is banned in China.
They have a different version of it, owned by a different company.
But the actual TikTok, what they promote to us is banned in China,
right?
And what they promote to over there is actually like wholesome and educational, and they're trying to promote the rot to everybody else.
Yeah, and I think they do all that shit with those gems and jewels and donations, and then the TikTok shop, which I think a lot of the products there are Temu. It's just a revenue generating ridiculous thing. Again, I've never understood it. I know there's some nice people who've gone over there, which I don't blame them, because if it brings people to your channel, that's fine. But I've just never. Social media overwhelms me.
Yeah, the fact that
good point, Jeffrey Dawson, because our phone is an unlocked door. With TikTok, your door standing wide open.
All of your doors and windows.
Have y'all heard of zero action hacks that we do? A lot of governments can do, and companies are starting to do it, where you can get a text that you don't even have to open. It's called a 0-click hack or whatever, where they can access your device. That was on Rogan too.
Yeah, there's all kinds of shit out there. There's some pretty cool stuff that.
Yeah, I thought that was the case, that they had it banned on a lot of phones for sensitive reasons.
Oh, yeah.
Because the terms of service aren't insane. Of service.
Yeah, but the thing is, even on Android, you can change your permissions, but with their terms of service, they can backdoor in through Google Play Store or the Google Store. They've got the rights. Once you log in anything, they are basically key logging and taking any information they want.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing here what it says about. I was trying to get to the point where it talks about your accounts, your access. Yeah, it's insane how long their terms of service are. I know all of them are. But yeah, permissions are good to look at, but they don't. I mean, I'm convinced, and I've given my privacy up a long time ago, and I've noticed that just when I signed up for Scott's Substack, so I could read his blog that he started doing, Scott N, Knife Tube Schedule, I'm starting to get just spammed. I've had to unsubscribe to probably 10 different, I guess, Substack publications. So anytime we log into something or set up a account, we're at risk for that.
That's why I've got like 5 different emails so I can keep certain ones that only get sign up for newsletters and shit go into one, and that way I'm not getting spam on the other ones.
That's what I try to do too, and it's just that when I signed up for Scott's thing, I wanted it to be connected to my main email. I didn't realize I was going to get goober screwed. All right, let me find. All right, I'm going to put a line up here. This is a knife that's kind of interesting. It isn't Ethan Grow, but it is not, from what I can tell, or what I've been able to decipher, it was donated, but it's G10, G2, nice bar lock that has really good action. I can flick it from the top of the fuller or the bottom of the fuller. Well, I just fucked that up. The bottom of the fuller with very little effort. Medium-sized knife, a little bit bigger than the bug out. But that's just going to be a random giveaway. And I'm going to put COON -LEE. Well, we'll put a hashtag. All right, kids. What I'm going to do is throw this up, and all of y'all in chat put in hashtag COON -LEE. I will get my little finishing book here. And then whoever wins, got to be 18 to win. I can only ship in the continental US, so you do have to have a proxy here if you're from out of the country. El Cap Addict, I think it's because the way I set my notifications. I'll show you. I did it on my phone. I think it's the way I set up my notifications.
Jesse, you spelled it wrong.
Yep, check your spelling. There you go. That's how you do it. I spelled it wrong because was it Shane that used to pronounce you Kunal? Kyle Kunal?
A bunch of them did.
And I think you spelled it out to me. It sounds like this: COONLEE.
Yeah.
Crispy's playing for Gnarly Charlie. I got 2 people putting in. Nobody wants to win this freaking effing grow.
After our last talk, I don't think anyone.
It's not a clone, guys. This is a good knife. Watch this. Does the hyphen work on hashtags? Does it not? Oh, okay. Are y'all? It says it's collecting. Somebody throw in one. There are 2 entries in there, so it's worked for 2 people. Todd, that's a good question. All right. You want me to do a different one without a hashtag?
I think it was collecting.
Well, there are only 2 on there. I think people, well, there are 4 now.
Yeah, it's grabbing them.
All right. Let me show you that I sharpened this. I think it's a pretty good knife. I think they sell for right around $40 on Amazon. And again, Brother Jim sent this to give away. I had a hiccup Dragoon, and it's similar only in the blade's different, the hole's different. The hiccup was a shorter blade, and it was a button lock, the one I had. And this one's got these raised areas on the G10. Again, it looks similar to a hiccup, but I think we can all say that all knives look kind of similar to something. Richard, you never need to, but if you'd like to, that's awesome. I like this long hole too. I like the fact that some bar locks don't have detent, but they work very well. One that I brag on is this Kaiser Mini Mystic. Y'all keep putting your Coonleys in there. I'll make that go away. This has got that adjustable axis spring system. And this one shipped with it on the second to tightest setting. So, whoops, it sucks the blade back in. And whether I thumb flick it or reverse flick it, it's actually got snap. I don't like the look of it necessarily as much. It's not kind of my jam, but the way that the action works. And I think it's just, I think if I took my drop bear and adjusted that axis spring, I think that's kind of the deal. I think the axis spring being tighter makes a huge difference. All right, let me share this. We only have 7 entries. And I know there are like 77 people in here. So if my thing's not working, somebody needs to speak now or forever hold their peas. We got 8 entries. Coon-Lee. Kevin Smith and Knives, what's up, brother? The Mannix ball lock rocks. Somebody was asking, and MC's live last week, and of course MC didn't see it, but why don't they do any other ball locks? And I didn't know if that was something they partnered with somebody with. And they don't use it anymore because they can't, or if they just realized it wasn't cost effective. Because I love the way the Mannix works.
Todd, 100%.
I missed that. Hold on. All right, nobody's going to even sign up for my F and grow. Should I change to a fixed blade?
Just run it. Who cares?
I'm going to run it, but we've only got, I know there are not that many people sleeping. If only 8 people signed up, I'm going to give it, well, how much time do we got? We got time, don't we?
We got 20 minutes.
We'll let it run a few more minutes. Everyone, let me get my scary voice. Where'd it go? I'll get my cold voice. All right, everybody. Put hashtag Coon-Lee in the comments to win this If and Grow knife. You can give it away. You can, cut with it. In the meantime,
Here's Milky, the marvelous milking cow. It's fun to milk her, gonna do it right now. She drinks the water when we pump her tail. She's raising her head, it's milking time now. Her pretend milk is a feeling the pail.
I could give away a Milky the cow.
That's not child friendly.
Dude, if you go and you look at like 70s commercials,
I know, they're great.
dude.
Oh, so soft and cuddly. With the thumb in her mouth, she's really neat. Fun to wiggle his little feet.
Hi, pal. My name's Corky. Come on and be my best friend. I'll tell you stories and we'll play.
The band commercials that they do.
They're just terrible, dude. I'm going to run it. Richard says run it. All right, guys. Good luck to all 8 of you. I know I need to get something different. We got 10 in there. I'm going to give it 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Good luck. 2, 1. Cheers, people. Illuminati Ninja, the man, the myth, the
He played
legend.
for somebody too.
Did he?
I'm pretty sure.
All right, let's see who played. Because all they need to do, I'm about to drop an email in here. If you email me tonight, as the story goes, I will get it mailed out tomorrow. And it's not throwing it in there. Who did Bloom play for? I don't see it. Do you
That's
see
fine.
it?
Maybe not. Maybe not.
I'm just gonna throw an email in here, and he'll tell me when he emails it. So Bloom, I know I've got your address, or I did, but shoot me anyway to make sure I send it to the right place. I've had that happen before. And if you email it to me, it works great because Pirate Ship will shoot you a tracker. I can't put my fucking email in here. Netflix. I tried to do one that would be easy, and it's not easy. It's basically the channel name. Boom. It's also linked in my bio. Let me make that go away, and let me write Bloominati down. Congrats, Bloom. Just in time. What's up? You're not too late, dude.
He was playing for Burnt Relic.
For Burnt Relic. Sweet. I'm going to write that in here. And Burnt Relic, shoot me an email. I got your address, but just to make sure that I shoot you a tracking number and everything. If you do it tonight or in the morning, I'll get it out tomorrow. If not, I'll get it out Monday, so I don't want you to rush. But let me write this shit down. FKF 109. Illuminati. DKSS.
It's been fun, buddy. I'm gonna go grab some food before said faction. So
all right, I hope you're good and sarcastic and full of piss and vinegar when you get in there tonight. I hope Donnie's there and you can trigger him.
I will do my best.
All right, brother. I always appreciate you coming in and sharing.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate you, dude.
All right, later.
Later. I hope you guys appreciate Kyle coming in and taking questions and sharing stuff. And I know for me, it's so helpful. And what I always want and hope that Friday Night Flicks continues to do is get some kind of structure where it's, different than Insomniacs, which is just weird. But that's the way it's supposed to be, right? Patina Turner, what's up? Ex-Sailor. I saw the headline. I did not see what his result was because I don't trust his HRC tester. And I've reviewed a Django, but I didn't. I will go watch it though. An interesting character for sure. And I know people have brought up questions about that HRC tester, the type that he uses, but I don't know what that means. I appreciate Kyle very much. Hey, it has totally decreased, dude. I didn't even talk about the major drama going on because I stay up on that shit. Believe it or not, I stay up on that. But yeah, Kyle is smart. He's well read. He looks at things very, I would say, and scientifically is the wrong word, but he doesn't take things at face value. He gets more information, right? Again, we'll do it every Tuesday night, and those small groups are fun. We've actually, that has run twice with the help of Fed Harrison. We've done 10 hours, 2 times, and one was like 5 hours. Because people were active, as long as people are chatting. And Tuesday nights aren't good for people, but I don't have a real job right now. I'm still unemployed. Edgy, surprisingly so. I mean, when I first met or saw him, I was like, this can't be the same dude. But yes, he is very much so, and he is a fantastic sharpener. He took an A100, mini A100 that had been abused and made it just a freaking beveled out laser beam. Interesting. Let me pull up Jeff. And I will watch it because, again, I have a couple of Kunwus. I used to be a fan. Ooh, interesting. I just looked at the thumbnail of what pulled up at who that was. If I'm not mistaken, the guy that, because I always thought, and I've got both of them, that the Padre and the Evo were very similar. But yeah, what's up, Brian F? Good to see you, buddy. But I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna definitely check that out. I'm very interested to see, because the guy that runs it, if I'm not mistaken, he's Serbian. And I know this only because my internet crush, Countess Anne, is engaged to him. And they both are, you know, I say Serbian. I think they're both Eastern European, right? And he is, let's see if I can find him in one of her posts, because I don't follow him. Of course not. I follow her, and she's probably smart enough not to put him. I know she's put him in some pictures before. But if I'm understanding correctly, this is the guy that owns Kung Wu. But I know what you're saying. That could be like somebody that owns a knife company that has their designs made in China, right? It's the same type of deal. Where is he? Because she shows a lot of Kung Wu's too. She models for a lot of Kung Wu's. Let me give you an example. Guys, I'm sorry. When I get on her page, I'm not seeing him. But anyway, isn't it owned by a Russian guy? Yeah, I think they're fine for what they are. Ja Rule, he had to be with 50 Cent. 50 Cent took his career from him. I think it's pretty, you know, like I say, all I know is, and I'm not a fan of either of them. I have no problem with either of them, but I know that he and Rochambeau had a back and forth in the comment section about Rochambeau questioning it, and him kind of shutting Rochambeau down, saying he was doing it for entertainment, something like that. There's a video on it on Roll's channel. Go watch it. But no, I have no problem. I think all the knife content out there serves a great purpose, right? And everybody likes to consume different stuff. And that's why I think there's always room for more people to make knife content. Do it your way. And the only thing that I would ever recommend is don't start off doing a lot of videos if you don't want to always do a lot of videos. And always be authentic. Always, you know, shoot straight. Don't say something's good that you wouldn't pay money for, or that you didn't pay money for. For years, and I'd still say 95% of the knives I've reviewed, I bought. I've had several, been fortunate in the last 6 months where companies will send me knives, but that's true, Edgy. And I'm not saying I'm not taking one side or the other. I'm just talking about two creators. And I guess the comment section wasn't the best place for that type of discourse. It should have been done through some kind of DM or questioning his whatever. But yeah, and that's the type guy that I would shut down too. I would be a prick. You would see Javon go on his not hate art, but his negative art. Are you on IG, buddy? You can send it to me, or you can just share it with me. I agree, because Kyle has taught me so much about the variables that aren't in between the lines of a page, that you can read all you want to about steels, but there's a lot more that goes into it. Guys, I'm still not seeing my tile for said faction. Where is it? Because usually it shows me a countdown. I got my subscriptions. Should be the top one up here. Bushcraft Rebooted is live. Bees only was live for 3 hours. I'm not seeing a said faction thing. Do you guys have a link to said faction? Does anybody have a link to said faction that you can throw up? That's very interesting. And I've heard things, Brian. I've heard a lot of people that have absolutely nothing for them. And I'll be 100% transparent. They're a knife company that I supported for years, and I was fully vested. I had a towel, an X towel, a Pulsar, and a Padre. I really like their knives. Then when I started getting some subscribers and I started reaching out to knife companies, they're one I reached out to because I'd bought a lot of their knives. And they said they didn't work with channels, which we know they do. They just work with the ones they want to work with. El Cap Addict, why is it not showing up on my YouTube? That's bizarre. How many minutes do we have? Because I always like to get out right about the time that they are about to start. So y'all have time to get water, beer, bong hit, whatever the case may be. And I'm still not seeing it. But I'm going to follow that link. And I'll go from there. Well, let's see if I click on this link here. Oh, I know where I can do. That's right. I've got it right here. Come on. Come on. I just pushed the down button. All right. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that do have major problems with Kunwu. And again, I'm not a fan. I like their knives. I didn't get any love from them. Not that I expected it. I just didn't expect for them to basically lie to me, right? To say that they don't work with reviewers, just say they're not interested in working with me, which is fine. Guys, we got 5 minutes. Everybody's got to roll over to said faction. The link is in the chat. It is on Maddie's page. So I will see y'all over there in just a few minutes. One thing I always want to say before I go is thank all of you for always stopping by. I love each and every one of you. I do it because I like it. I love hanging out with you guys. Look out for the guy to your left. Look out for the gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward. Love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.
Conscious. ISO. Diamond. Back in my bag and I gotta brag, I do this shit for real. When we was down and we had nothing, we had to share a meal. We put the shit in overdrive with no steering wheel. Shorty throw that thing back in a pair of heels. Yeah, she be riding on that thing like a Ferris wheel. Yeah, I love them dark skin, brown skin, caramel. You know I had to bring it to the hood like she Karen Civil when she keep on turning head. Cause when she woke that thing jiggle.
And we going back to back on them like we Hill, we and we Riley. This that back in my back, flow, we back again so highly. This that back in my back, flow, we back to change the climate. This that back in my back, flow, we bring the force like Tommy. Back in my back, flow. Back in my, yeah, back in my bag, yeah. I'm back in my, I'm back in my bag, yeah. I'm back in my, this my, back in my bag, flow.
Back again, yeah, we keep on stacking it, what's happening? Everything in Gucci got me feeling like I'm dapper then. Life has been a movie, yeah, so shout out to the cameraman. Pull up to the scene, it's going down like an avalanche.
Steady going up like a travel plan. Homer Simpson face, lucky power plant. Yeah, I'm off that dope, like I'm back again to busy at the millies. Out on club hurts, give the word if it's a cinch, Lord forgive me. Still having motion, dog, so why would I slow it? Make it rain on them, bust a band, then you throw it. We was steady having it, even at our lowest. High speed road runner, keep my motor going.
Hey, people feel away, but they don't show it. Gotta watch the people that's around you, that you grow it. They be coming around you with some plans to steal your moment. Soon as I bust a nut, she be like, baby.